We've just gone live. Let's have a look. Has anyone joined on yet? So you just a few notifications have just gone out to people to let people know we are live here on the channel this evening. We've only been live for a few seconds, so I'll let a few of you join. But for those of you that are new to the channel, my name is Andycharger, and this is my channel all about this wonderful car, the Audi TT Mark 1. And what are you up to this evening, guys? Why are you joining in? Hopefully you're joining in because you're a subscriber to the channel. It's pretty cold in the garage tonight, and I am welcome along if you're just joining on. So I'm got one whole glove and one glove, a fingerless glove. Hi Stephen, how you doing, buddy? Long time no see. I hope you're well. Hi you Glenn, how you doing, mate? Hope the build's coming on well. Mr. Briggs, your TT is the same colour as this one. I hope it is. Tell me all about it. I'm always open to listening to about people that have got the same colour TT as this, because if you've got a UK model, obviously you are one of just a handful of people that have a UK registered Audi TT Mark 1 in this colour, because there are only 41 of them made. Shirley Walker, hello, how you doing? In Canada, back to the mills and the mines. Good to see you, mate. I hope you're all good. How is your car in Canada? I imagine it's quite cold over there at the moment, so I hope you're doing plenty of winter driving. Turbo and DSG box is in. Wicked. Going out, start sort of wiring a bit. Brilliant, Glenn. Please get that car ready and bring it with yourself to Ypres in April of next year. Shawnee Walker, mine is Dolomite Grey. Wicked colour. That is a fantastic colour. Another rare colour. The silvers you see a lot of, but not the Dolomite Greys. Mr. Briggs, it's a Mark 1 roast in America. Wow. Okay, so well, good to see that you are joining us from the States. And I think this colour is probably more common in the US than it was in the UK. It was always seen as a bit of a, we call it a Marmite colour in the UK, but it's one of those cars that's not overly popular. It's a bit of a, you either liked it or you hated it, is probably the best way to describe it. And over time, because obviously there was only a few of them made at the time, I guess it was quite a garish colour. Not many of them are around. Wow, someone's in Alaska. That is seriously cold. I bet you've got a good quattro working there. So we've got 15 people on so far. So let's see if we can get a few more. And if you're enjoying what you're watching tonight, and if you're discovering my channel for the first time, whatever, just give me a thumbs up so I know that you're enjoying it tonight. And the content, we're going to talk all about this car and the Mark 1 scene in general and any other topic that comes up. So definitely give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, please give me a subscribe as well. It really helps out. It was T-boned in a part. It's a parts car now. Can't buy a quarter panel. Oh man, that's a shame. So that's awful to lose your car. Someone's just given it a like. Thank you very much, buddy. I hope you're all doing well tonight. So it's Monday night here in the UK, 7:30. It's freezing cold. I'm out here in the garage. The TT Mark 1, obviously, if you've been following me, you know that this needs a new alternator. What I say needs an alternator, it needs to be an alternator repair doing, because we have suffered a failure in this just about a month ago at a car show in the UK. On the way there, the alternator packed up. How did I know that had happened? Well, the battery light came on the dash. So you've got your instrument cluster, small little red battery light came on that told me the battery wasn't charging. Now, it was fine when I left home, but it started to fail as we were driving. So I knew it wasn't the battery that was failing, because it's unusual for that to go while you're driving. So something was not charging the battery, and hence why that comes on, telling you there's a low voltage. So for those of you that don't know, hi Phil, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you online tonight. Thanks for jumping on. You've bought a silver 03 plate. It will be like, oh nice, it will live on. Good to hear. But yes, so talking about that alternator, there's a few things that we can do to find out if there's a problem with the alternator. First thing you can do is you can get a multimeter and check out the battery. So you put the multimeter on the battery and you look at the volume of amps that's being created when the car is running. Now, a 12-volt car battery, as you imagine, it's got 12 volts sitting in it, normally just a little bit over. But when the alternator is running, you are generating about 14 volts. The alternator is kicking out a bigger voltage to keep that battery charged. So when the engine is running, you'd expect to see 14 volts. Now, there's a couple of ways you can test that. Say the multimeter, the first one. You can also test in the engine bay on the alternator to see what that's generating. But what you can also do is on the cluster controls, on not cluster controls, on the air conditioning controls, you can hold the recirculate button down and the up arrow, and that will generate a secret menu that you can access that can give you a whole range of information on the secret codes. If you set that to 20C with the temperature guide and press the recirculate button, it will tell you the voltage that's coming out of that car when it's running. Now, if you're generating anything less than about 14 volts, you've got a problem. This car was generating 11 volts by doing that test. So we've tested with the multimeter, and we've tested with the controls on the air conditioning. Both were coming back at running about 11 volts. We knew we've got a problem, and it was dropping as well. So the battery is discharging, it's not charging, okay? So there's also a couple of things you need to test. So if it's the alternator that's causing the problem, obviously to get to that, we've got to take the whole front end off this 3.2 V6. Big job, but there's a couple of other checks you should do first to make sure it is the alternator and not a blown fuse. So what we have on, whether it being a 1.8T or a 3.2 V6, you have got this part on the car. So I'm just going to bring you over a bit closer so we can look at the car. So if we can put you down there, and I'll turn the camera down just like that. So here we have the battery tray. Now on the 1.8T cars, other than the Quattro Sport, you will find the battery sitting under this compartment right here. So here is your battery tray. Normally you've got it under there, and it's held in place. If you've got original parts, you'll recognize these little screws right here. They're a bit of a pain. They tend to get lost, and people do tend to replace them with other things. And there's 3 of these bolts that hold the battery cover in place. So remove those, and you lift the battery cover off like that. Now, of course, there's no battery here in a 3.2. It's completely hollow here because the battery is in the boot. So don't come looking for your battery here or go here and go, where's it gone? So it's got actually a blanking plate in there that holds it, so it takes up a bit of that space. But sitting on the top, you have this little fuse box. So for those of you that think about changing fuse on the car, the fuse panel is actually on the end of the driver's side dash in the UK. I think in the US, I think it's on the driver's side dash, but it's on the other side. So it's on the left-hand side of the car. UK market, it's on the right side of the car. There's a small panel in the dash. Just pops off and all your fuses are there. So if you've blown any fuses, always check there. But for the bigger fuses, the blade, not the blade fuses, the like the bow tie fuses, sitting under this little box here, we just open this lid. We've got all these little fuses, and that's why I'm going to bring you in closer so you can see what's going on here. So it's these fuses right here. So this little fuse box can overheat and melt and cause problems as well. So this little fuse box is where you want to look if you've got a problem with the alternator first, because this big black wire here right on the end with this huge fuse, 150 amp fuse this has got, that's a serious fuse, okay? This is your alternator fuse. So if your alternator could have stopped working, always come and check here first, because if this fuse has snapped, then all that needs to do is a new blade. They're not a blade fuse, they're like a bow tie fuse. I don't know what their actual name is, but you can just get a new one and replace that. They sell them in a pack at Halfords and various car stores, so you can get them quite easy. But check this fuse first. Now, you can blow this fuse quite easily by doing something as silly as connecting the battery the wrong way around. So putting positive to negative, negative to positive. And the reason I know that is I have actually done that by putting the battery in the wrong way around, and it blew that fuse. At least it protects the car, but it does blow that fuse. So that's the first thing I would be checking for an alternator problem, is come and have a look here, make sure that's there. I'm just going to have a look in the comments, because I just noticed there's a few of you chatting and I've not kept an eye on the comments. So let me have a look down. For the removable hardtop, never available in America, is 13.5 volts acceptable? Shawnee, yeah, I'd say about 13.5 to 14 volts is where that sits. That's an acceptable voltage. If you think about the battery is generating, or it has 12-volt battery, if you are getting 13.5 volts, you're generating more than you are than the battery holds. So you are essentially, you're over generating, which is fine. If you were getting less than 15 volts, 12 volts, then your battery's discharging and not charging up, and then you've got a problem with your alternator. Kenneth, what was it? I just missed all these chats. Right, so I'm going to back up a little bit, and then we're going to have a look at the chat to the camera, because Just conscious you guys are chatting and I'm missing all the go flip the here. What's this? About flipping the camera, just a black one. Do you recommend an OEM or aftermarket? Well, that's for Nathan. Nathan Coombs, saw your video, and obviously, guys, if you are wanting to watch a winter driving video, Nathan has kindly done a homage to me where he's taken his car out into the wilds of the US in the winter with the snow all around, some great footage, some great scenery. He's given us a walk around his car, so definitely recommend checking out Nathan's video. Thank you, Nathan, for doing that. And you even had a pair of blue glasses on. I haven't got my usual blue glass on tonight. I've actually got my my look like Ali G, if you know who Ali G is, but they're also my ski goggles. So and also I use them on my bike. Stephen, do you know, Andy, if they are still available? Sorry, Stephen, what was still available? I've missed a couple of things. The little fuse box. Are you talking about a little fuse box if it's available? Or are you talking about another part? Let me know in the chat. I just noticed that will take a couple of minutes probably to come up because I think the chat is slightly delayed. But Stephen, let me know what you're after from an OEM perspective. So, guys, if you are after OEM parts that are no longer available direct from Audi, there are still some sources that you can buy these OEM parts, new old stock, NOS stock, in the UK. So there's a great breaker down in South Wales called Mark Stanley, and he has a supply of a lot of new old stock parts. So things you think you can't get, Mark can normally get hold of. I'm just trying to find some parts around the garage that he supplied me with. So a common thing is that on the springs at the back of the car, they sit in like almost like a foam disc that just like the cushion, the seat that the spring sits in. And you can't buy them out anymore. But because Mark's such a diamond geezer, he had a couple on the shelf and he supplied to me. So that is actual original Audi parts. So when you're looking for those true Audi parts, Mark has them. I noticed he's also got a range of reconditioned calipers for the 3.2 at the moment. So if you're after a set of brakes for the car, Mark might be your guy. So yeah, so guys, what's going on with your cars at the moment? Let me know in the chat. You've probably noticed I've got a fingerless glove so I can use the screen still and one on because it's really cold out here tonight. And I've even resorted tonight to having a little pink water bottle, hot water bottle to put my hand in because it's a bit cold. Really, really cold this evening. But yeah, what's been going on with your cars? Last night we had the last meet of the year that we've organised for the TT people here in the southeast, I guess. There was a great meet yesterday down on the south coast. I think there was about 15 cars there, I noticed, where there was people in right on the south coast down at West Bay, at the West Bay meet. So Steve Marchant and the TT Addicts had a great meet yesterday. So some really nice cars there. And there was also our own TT Christmas dinner last night that we had at the Duke's Head in Crawley Down. So we had about 20 people there. It was great to see everybody last night. So if anyone's on tonight watching that was there last night, it was great to catch up. The fixing screws for the battery cover. Right. Okay, Stephen. Yeah, I've just got that through. Yes, you can actually still get hold of them. I think there's a guy that's making them actually somewhere up in Manchester. He's making a mold of these. So there's the original screws. But you can see by the design, they do tend to wear out. But these ones are okay. But I've only got 2 out of the 3 holding my battery cover in. What tends to happen is they get taken out and get put on top of around the trim there, and then of course they disappear because they fall off the car onto the under tray. You forget they're there, you drive along and they bounce around the under tray and then they fly off the car, never to be seen again. So I imagine in the hedgerows of the UK there's lots of those bolts. So if you get a chance to get some, definitely keep hold of some. I think someone was selling a set for about £40, so they're not that cheap. But again, Mark might have a set of those. So Steve, if you're after a set, check out Mark Stanley's page. He might have those parts in stock. But so for the next couple of weeks, obviously we've got Christmas coming up. So one of the jobs is going to be to have the front of this car off, and we're going to do that alternator. I've got a lot of parts on the shelf at the moment that I've taken off the breaker car, and I'm going to do some videos on how to either refurbish them or test those bench test those parts. So things that I'm going to bench test for you and give you an idea is I'm going to go through a deep dive on the alternator. So how you can bench test the alternator off the car, make sure it's working. We're going to take one apart because obviously we think this is a problem. Could be the regulator pack, but it could also be maybe the brushes have gone inside on the alternator. A new alternator from Autodoc is £150. whereas we can buy a replacement, like a repair kit for about £30. So I think for us, it's good that we can take that apart. Thank you for giving that a like, whoever that was. But we're definitely gonna take this alternator apart and have a look at it, because even if it's unrepairable, which I very much doubt it is, we'll get some really good content and share with you how we fix that. So we're definitely going to do that. What other jobs are we going to do? The brakes obviously seem to be okay on the car as well. I've done a brake video on how I replaced the Brembos on this car, which is another good little deep dive. Have you seen any removable hardtops for sale for rotors recently? I'm enduring a Midwest winter with my daily Mark 1 Roadster. If you're in the Midwest, I would imagine that means you're in the US, and hardtop Roadster parts, well, they're going to be as rare, I think, over there as they are in the UK. Really hard to get hold of. They do come up for sale from time to time here in the UK. There are a few around. One was up for sale for it. They're about £1,000, so about $1,200 US, $1,300 US, about that sort of price for one. So expect to pay that. They are a very rare part, and you also have. If you want to fit it to your Roadster, a lot of the rotors from the factory came with like a black metal strip right around the outside of the trim of the car. So as where that roof void is, where your roof folds flat, that very edge is a black, thick metal strip. And that's there to protect the paintwork when you put a hard top roof on it. A lot of the cars have it, but a lot of the cars also don't have it. And there doesn't seem to be any pattern as to why, because you'd think if that was put on there by default, they'd all have it. If it was put on there by someone that was buying the hardtop roof as well, you could understand it. But there's so many cars with that strip that doesn't have a hardtop roof for it. It doesn't make an awful lot of sense that it was a factory default fit. So I'm not sure why that is. And if anyone knows the reason behind that, why some of them do have and some of them don't have, because I don't think it's all the ones from the factory have it. I've got a QS rear seat delete to fit and a set of different front seats to fit over winter. Nice. Is that in your red car, Stephen? In your 3.2? I've had to tear out my Roadster carpets because of mold allergies. They can and do leak. Yeah, they do, Kenneth. That is a problem with them. Obviously, the rear windows are a big failure point on Roadsters. And if you don't address that problem, that it will leak. And one of the key components for a Roadster is your comfort control module. And that is the CCM. And that sits in a void just behind the right-hand seat in the cars. So if you're looking in the car, I'm going to point like so on the driver's side, behind the driver's seat, there's a small void in the Roadster, and there's like a little like window in the carpet about that big. And you press that out, and there's a void underneath it, and on that side wall, there's like a black. I'll show you what roughly it is. Okay, so it's not this, because this is my tire inflator, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. It's about the size of this, and it's mounted on the bulkhead of the car. Okay, you can see it mounted there. So the 3 bolts holding it in place. And what happens is the drains on the Roadster get blocked. There's a small little drain hole at the top of each side of the Roadster that goes all the way through the bodywork and out the wheel arch. But those little compartments that the rainwater catching, because the roof is designed to let water through, it's not designed to keep it out completely. Those little drains, they fill up with detritus, leaves, rubbish, and because of that, they let the water flow into the roof void instead. That seeps down into that compartment, and then this gets wet. Okay, and when that gets wet, that's holding all of your electrical components and circuits for things like your door locks, your electrical hood, your release flap for the fuel flap, the boot release, lots of things on the car. And you start electric windows. So then you're driving along and you start getting these problems. First of all, you can't open the fuel flap to fill up, or you can't put the windows up and down. And it's normally because that CCM has got wet and damaged. If you're lucky and you can solve the leak problem, or if you realize those little drains are blocked and you unfree them and it then flows freely, you might be able to save your CCM, get it dried out. So what I did is I had a very similar problem, and I put a load of rice in a bag and I put it into that CCM void, and it pulled all the moisture out and it dried out lovely. So it did save it. And all it was I had a load of leaves stuck in that hole, cleared the leaves out, not a problem since. But what tends to happen is the rear window fails around the outside. So you end up with like a a gap in the rear window, and that lets the water seep in. And rather than running round the drain as such, it just drips straight down onto that roof void. And then, because that doesn't matter if your drains are blocked, as soon as that window fails, starts going on there, and it will cause damage. Right, I've got a few questions, so I'm just going to have a quick look through. Sorry guys if I've missed anything. Right, Eduardo, bless your soul, Andy. Thank you, buddy. Yes, clear the drains or rainwater is going right into the CCM. Absolutely, Kenneth. And also, the drain being blocked doesn't matter if that rear window's failed, because if that rear window's failed, it's going straight into your void anyway, and going to cause problems with the CCM. Hi, Andy, I'm still having a problem with Mark 1 Roadster with remote lock and intermittently working. May not open the driver's door, but passenger side opens. Could this be something to the CCM? Yeah, so that could be, because I think, again, what might have happened, you could have got some water into that CCM at some point, or maybe now and again it leaks a little bit of water, gets in the CCM, gets damp, or even you might have a lot of damp in the car, and that maybe builds up, condenses on your CCM, causes a bit of a short. So it'd be interesting. Does it work? If you think about the summer, in the height of summer, does everything work fine? And in the winter, when it starts getting damp, does it start causing a problem? Because if it is, it could be that. It could be the fact that damp is just getting into your CCM. So my advice would be, if you can, get into that void, unplug your CCM, remove the CCM, open it up, make sure it's all dry, and again, get some contact cleaner and actually give all the circuit a clean. Get all the rust and any sort of corrosion off that board with an electrical contact cleaner. Give it a good clean up, dry it all out, put it back together, remount it. But also, what I would do, is my preference, is I always keep a sock with some rice in it in that hole. Because my idea behind that is, if there's any moisture around it, it's going to go into that sock first and remove and be gone. So I do that, let that build, every sort of month, just check that sock, make sure the rice is dry. If it's starting to feel heavy, change the rice out. It's a nice cheap way of sucking the moisture out of the air and keeping sure that void stays nice and dry. Would you say roaster owners have nothing to worry about if the drains are clear? No, Eduardo, I wouldn't, because as I've mentioned, if that window has failed, excuse me, doesn't matter about the drains, because that water's going straight into your void. So you need to make sure that that's something worth doing. It has been my experience on a roadster, if the back window breaks as bad, you have to replace the roof. Yeah, so Nathan, I have done a video on that, on how I have been able to fix that. And I fixed it on my roadster when I first had a leak and a problem in it. But unfortunately, my wife decided to take the car out, and I had left the padding in the roof void where we were using it to press the window out to make sure the glue sticks. So when she went, the roof was up. It was a sunny day. She put the roof down, and of course the padding was there. The roof had nowhere to go, and because the mechanism is quite strong, it forced the roof all the way down and smashed the window anyway. So I had to swap the whole roof out. So there is a video on my channel. If you ever need to replace your entire roof and you want to unbolt it, remove it, there's a video on how to do it on my channel. So definitely check it out. But on the roof itself, and what people make the mistake of doing, if the roof has failed, the first thing they try and do is they try and glue the outer skin of the roof to the window. Okay. Well, that's normally not what's failed. So what it has on the inside of the window, there's about a 2-inch strip that goes right around the outside of the window. Okay. Nice thick material. Bond that. This is my advice. I would bond that back onto the glass first. That's your first bit. So it's it's a 3-step process, this we're doing, right? Bond that strip all the way around so it's stuck to the glass. So you've got a bond between the material and the glass. Next thing you want to do, don't try sticking the outside roof to the glass. That new bonded layer you've got around, that big thick inch-wide bonded layer, cover that in any sort of glue or what you're using, any sort of adhesive to stick it, right? And then you want to stick that to the hood, okay? And then from behind that, pad out behind, because you want to push out on the glass, and also put some pressure against that strip to stick. And the way I get it to create a good seal is you can get some suckers, just like suckers that stick on the glass, put a wire around them and wire them up to the garage roof that pulls the glass almost back into the hood. So it creates a nice seal. It takes the pressure any load off that strip bonding to the material. Once that's done, what you can do is on the outside, just peel the edge of the glass back, the cover back very slightly, and put a load of mastic around the inside, and then almost like make sure you put good pressure on it. So the actual load bearing part is not the glass and the material. It's actually that inner glass, that second step, that inner material to the outer material. That's what's taking your load, not the glass touching anything, just so people are aware. You almost like sandwich the glass between it. If that, hopefully that makes sense. But if not, I might do another video on it. And the reason I worked that out is there was a white roadster that came here to have a roof repair, probably at the start of the year. You might have seen a video on it, and we couldn't get it to bond. And that was because, first, I didn't have enough time to do it, and I was trying to do it in a rush. And really, what I should have done is I should have done that 3-step process that I've sort of worked out since. So that's what we'll do in future. Guys, if you're enjoying what you're watching, please do make sure you give the video a thumbs up. It's always good to hear what people are doing. It's been my experience on the roast. I've read that one. That will save me the next $2,000. Yeah, Nathan, that will. Although in your video, your hood looks great. It really looks, you can tell it's a new hood. It looks amazing. The thing with hoods is they do wear and they do start looking untidy in time, but that looks like a lovely brand new hood. So great work on that, buddy, to have that on the car. But yeah, so you've probably seen a little short I've done this week on one of these, and I'm not recommending any brand here, although this one is an ACK mount one. If you've got a jump pack at home, or if you haven't got a jump pack, why not? Because if you're driving your car, particularly an Audi TT, an old car, and your battery's failing or your battery's discharged and you need to jump start the car, rather than bringing a second car around, you get one of these little devices nowadays, and you can charge it on USB-C. You plug in like a little a jumper lead there, connect to the battery, press the button, turn it on, and it will give you the power to start your car. And once it's running, obviously the alternator kicks in, it will start charging your battery up. But the reason I'll talk about this particular one is the 3.2 behind me. It's got a double-din stereo, and because of that, it has no cigarette lighter, so you can't plug the tire pump in to pump your tires up. This gadget has got a tire inflator as part of the pump, so it's an air compressor and a jump starter, so it combines both bits. That way, you never need to plug your car, your pump into the car. It's portable. You can walk around the car and just do it. So I definitely check one of those out if you can find out if you can get hold of one of these. Brilliant. Hi Andy, how you doing, buddy? Great news on your Roadster, your purple Merlin. Seeing that's past its MOT, and even better news, that means you're coming to Ypres for the International TT show next year. So that'd be great to have you along. But highly recommend. Say, I'm not going to plug any particular brand because you know me. If this is a good one, but I'm not going to say, oh, go and buy this one because I think it's good and it's not. If I think it's good, I'll tell you guys, but I'll also be really honest. But it doesn't matter the brand. Get one of these jump packs with an entire inflate because they really are good to have. Just going to hold on to my hot water bottle and give it warm for a minute. Mr. Foreman, look, I've got a hot water bottle after our conversation last night. I'm waiting for that electrical USB charging gilet you're going to send me. Since purchased a Haldex kit to see if that removes the loss of Quattro. Yeah, Eduardo. So the Quattro can be a lot of different things not working. The Roadster, my Roadster, that has got a problem right now with the Quattro, with the Haldex kicking in. It's not kicking in. So a great way to test the Haldex, get your phone set up alongside the car, film your car from the side, put it on to 120 frames a second and film your car, and then floor the car and just see as you pull away, you can watch it back in slow motion and watch if those back wheels are starting to turn separately and grip. And if they are slipping, then it's working. If there's no rotation from that back wheel as your wheel spin the front, if you can wheel spin the car, it's a good indication that Haldex is not working. I've heard lots of different things that cause the problem. Haldex pump packing up, even the earth strap being disconnected, which I'm not so sure about that. But I'm going to try it. So what I'm going to do, we've definitely got a problem with the Haldex. I've got another Haldex to put on the car and a diff that I was sent by Mark Stanley. Thank you, Mark. So I've got the parts if it's the Haldex that has failed. But what you must do with these cars, just so everyone's aware, if you're going to do a Haldex service yourself, there's a couple of things you should need to make sure of. That you must not over torque the plug, the Haldex plug, they're doing it up, right? and you must make sure you use a new washer every time. Because it's very easy to do. It's very easy to over tighten it. It's an aluminium casing, and you can essentially strip the threads out of it. And then once you've done that, it won't seal. It'll always drip, and then you've got problems. And you can helicoil it, and my rotor's been helicoiled, but it's still not right. It still has a bit of a moment. So always use a collapsible washer, or get a new plug, and always make sure you don't over torque that bolt and ruin your Haldex. Okay, so that's a little bit of advice for that. Yeah, long time no see. It's been at least 24 hours since I see you, Cole. But always good to see you, mate. That's the thing. Last night was great. I was just talking about how much fun dinner was last night, and how we had a really good turnout. 20 of us in the Duke's Head last night. Some nice food, great conversation, great company as always. And yeah, then tonight, obviously, I'm back to freezing my self to death in the garage. But Stephen, but Andy, if it's an open rear diff, so if you record and spin the wheels, it could be the rear wheels that spin away from the camera. Yeah, if you're spinning those front wheels, if those front wheels are spinning and there's no rotation from the back wheels, that is the car is not telling the back wheels it needs grip. So if your front wheels are spinning, that means they're losing grip. So if the back wheels aren't trying to compensate, that means your Haldex is not working. It's quite a simple. What's the word I'm looking for? Not philosophy. Quite a simple theory. That's what I'm looking for. Haldex service is a messy job, but did resurrect my Quattro. Yeah, it can be. I've done a video on that with a little a squeegee gun and a tube of sealant, and it's not sealant, obviously it's oil, and a little oxygen pipe. I use it for an O2 canister. It did the job, because the trouble is with it, you've got to fill the Haldex through the drain, which is bonkers design. So there is a little observation window bolt you can take out, but you can't put any oil through it, which is a bit mad. So you have to fill it up through the drain plug. So you fill it up to where it needs to be, and then you've got to be really quick to pull the tube away and put the bolt in. And that's, in that sort of confusion to do it, that's where you can forget the washer or over tighten the bolt and cause your problem. Hi Andy, what was the outcome with the garage who charged you for a genuine cam belt kit but used aftermarket? Do you know what? I've not heard back from them, and I'm glad you reminded me. I must chase that up. So Mr. Clutch, it was in Tunbridge Wells, if you want to know who it was. I need to chase them up. They were very much, but to be fair to them, they did do my son's cam belt on his 207, and I bought the parts and gave them to him to fit. So even though I use an aftermarket kit on that one anyway, but I got, how did you buy the Haldex fluid? Yeah, that's the problem. You don't want that in your face, or anything in your face. I bought my TT only to discover afterwards the Quattro had been removed by the previous owner. That's not good. So when you say it's been removed, is it just a case it's not working, or is it a case of that it is, well, I don't know. Is it a case of it's just been like the diff's been welded up or something, or why is it not working? Is it a case it's there and it's just failed, or is it a case it's actually physically been removed? Be interested to know. Puff Daddy Juice. I bought my. Oh yeah, that's the one we just read. Okay, guys, if you've got any more questions, bang it in the chat. It's completely removed. Wow, that's been a big job. I wonder why someone would do that. Is it a 225 as well, or is it a 180? Because obviously the 180 came in 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive. The 225 only came in 4-wheel drive, and of course the 150 only came in the Roadsters, but that also comes in only 2-wheel drive. But there's a 4-wheel drive Roadster 150. I might be wrong, and if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. It'll always be good to know. It was my first car, so I didn't know. I should check. Yeah, it was the 225. Wow. Okay, Shawnee Walker, you've got 150. And is it a Quattro? I don't think they made a Quattro in that 150, but you might tell me differently. So what I have done as well, talking of tools and stuff, I don't know if anyone buys any tools on online, and these sort of like Temu and TikTok Shop and things like that. Merry Christmas, Sean. Thank you, buddy. I hope you have a great Christmas as well. I will do your channel convinced me to buy a TT. Wow, that's a big shout. Thank you, Puff Daddy Juice. That's quite a big compliment. I hope you've enjoyed your TT since you've owned it. and I'm glad that the channel helps inform people and make decisions and do things. 225 and a 250 Mark 1. I've had a few problems, but love it. Yeah, they all cause problems. I mean, look at my car here. You know, it's a low mileage 3.2, and I thought it's going to be well looked after. And then, do you know what? I went through the service history before I bought this car, and I thought, oh, it's a bit of a troublesome car. It's had a lot of things done to it over the time, so I knew maybe I was buying a bit of an interesting car. What the way it behaves, drives great, and it is good, but you know, it does have a few. It's had a few things done, like brakes and problems in the past. So all good. Jack 8 Jim Gaming, how you doing, buddy? I hope you're well tonight. But yeah, so obviously we've got a few videos coming up on the channel, so I'm going to do that deep dive into the alternator. I'm also going to do a deep dive into testing your starter motor as well, and how you can make it all pop out and make sure it's spinning up and working. I've seen a few suggestions of how I can do that, but I've got a starter motor. I'll get that off the shelf just to you can have a look at the starter motor. It's a lot bigger than people realise. So where is my starter motor? I've seen it. It's on my shelf. There it is. Here you go. So here is the starter motor, guys. Here we go. There is your starter motor. It's quite a heavy little thing, and the principle is obviously you apply current to it. This little kiddie pops out. I'm going to pull him out a little bit like that. See that pops out a little bit, engages with your engine and spins up real fast. So it needs a massive amount of current to get that to happen. Okay, so that is what it does. Will Nick see you tomorrow? He won't see me tomorrow, but he'll see me Thursday. Hiya, Chrissy Jamie. How you doing, buddy? So, Jack, let your dad know if he's in Thursday. I've got something for him as well. So if he's around, let him know for me. That'd be great. Here in South Africa, a decent tea sells for about £3.5. That's a very precise number, £3,560. But yeah, they do vary in price all over the year, over the world. So I think from the market, are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. Are you okay, Jack? Hopefully you're okay, buddy. Hope you're all getting ready for Christmas. Hope Santa's going to be lots of nice things. TTs are probably the cheapest anywhere in the world right here in the UK. This is the cheapest market for them. So we have, you know, a decent 3.2 you can pick up for less than £3,000, $5,000 US. Don't think you'd get a car like that in the US for anything like that. And even in Europe, they're very expensive as well, which is a bit mad because you think most of the world drives left-hand drive cars. So there's a lot of cars in Europe, a lot of cars in the US. So that's where these parts would be. Why are they so cheap there? I think they're cheap because there are so many of them in the UK market. There's still so many of them around. They're not as desirable, I think, anymore. And because there's so many of them, parts are quite easy to get hold of as well. But there's also it's a bit of a buyer's market, really. That also makes a difference to price. In the US, you don't really see TTs around very often. So the cars are quite rare in the US. So they're more expensive. Rarity makes a big difference. In the UK, there's so many for sale that you can get, you know, it's a buyer's market. 8,000 to 4,000 US. Yeah, that's just crazy money over there. Is 8,000 to 4,000 US dollars is about £3,500 UK pounds, maybe. That's about where it is. Maybe about £3,000. Petford's Pride, no one wants the left-hand drive ones, I guess. Yeah, you're right. And right, so I've had a friend of mine that lives in Belgium, a guy called Patrick. He's got 5 beautiful Audi TTs. There's a video on my channel all about, you know, one man, you know, how many cars is too many cars. Go and check out the video on Patrick. There's a really moving story about one of his TT ownerships that he's got there. I highly recommend it. They're all unusual cars that Patrick's got. Beautiful cars, great condition. But Patrick decided to buy a UK-based TT, a 3.2 Roadster in Morrow Blue. He bought it over here quite cheap, and he decided to ship it to across the sea back to Belgium. Excuse me. And the money in it didn't really balance up, because obviously with it being a right-hand drive car, it's not as desirable in Europe. Although the parts, you could break it for parts, it wasn't as a desirable car, and I think it didn't turn out so well. So I think taking cars between markets is not that great. So a lot of people in the US say, you know, gee, your car is really cheap in the UK. And if you look at shipping the car to the US, not only is the shipping expensive and the import tax, but you're driving on the wrong side of the car as well for the US market. So they're not as desirable. So I'd suggest if you're in the US and you wanted to buy a car from Europe, I would look at Europe to buy the car. The good thing about the UK market is the Japanese also drive on the right hand side of the car. So we're able to import cars from Japan, get a lot of Japanese imports in the UK, and the cars are in very good condition because of the climate in Japan. So they are really good. So a few questions here. Where do I see UK prices and Mark 1 prices going? The amount you get stripped, etc. You think they would behold their money? Yeah, I mean, I think, Stephen, I did a video about that a couple of weeks ago, and I think the prices now they can't get any lower. I think for what you're getting for the car, I can't see how they can, because the prices now are so low that repair bills are becoming worth more than a car. So if your car is suddenly worth more in parts, or it's suddenly not an economical repair, people just write them off. And of course, eventually, cars are being written off that you could easily put back together and get them back on the road. And there are a lot of great cars that are very cheap that are being broken for parts. And there's a lot of people asking, you know, why are they doing that? I mean, there's a lot of Quattro Sports around. There's only 1,100 originally, or 800 was there? 1,100, I think, around the world. They are extremely rare. A lot of nice parts on them. And they are being broken for parts. And again, even those Quattro Sports, not all of them had the beautiful pole position seats. Some of them came with Quattro Sport, came with comfort seats. So they're essentially the same as a 225. You know, there's not an awful lot of bit. You've got a few Alcantara bits and a rear seat delete, but not an awful lot there different. So I don't think there's a big market for those. But because of the 3.2s now, it's a lot of the rare colours. Like this is a particularly rare colour. I'm just going to put that down. I'm not going to shut it because I'm going to end up raking stuff. I'm just going to put that down like that just so we can see the bonnet, because it looks nice, doesn't it? But the 3.2s in the rare colours, you know, I was offered more money for this in a rare colour than Quattro Sports are selling for. So that says a lot about the rarity and the colour and the difference it makes. Yeah. So I think they will start going up in price, but I think we're not at that tipping point yet where there's less of them available to do that. There's still a great selection of parts available right now. So my advice to anyone that owns particularly a 3.2, but even like the 1.8s, is try and get hold of, if you're planning on keeping the car, I would recommend you get hold of a select number of parts for the future. Things that aren't going to be available, that they no longer make. And what would they be? So things like quite structural components that could fail, right? So I've got one right here on the floor. Oh, he says, oh, nearly knocked you over, guys. You don't want to be doing that. This is the first thing. So this is a rear subframe, okay? So the rear subframes tend to rot, and the front subframes will rot away on the car, okay? They will rot away, and if they rot away, you have got no way to buy a new one. They don't make them anymore. You can't get them. So your only option is write the car off or find a second-hand one from a breaker. Get hold of one right now while they're still in good condition as they come up with a breaker. Get it to a shop blaster, get it shop blasted and get it powder coated and hang it up in your garage, right? Rear subframe, number one. Front subframe, number two. Get one of those. Now, I've got one hanging up in cellophane. I'm going to get that and show you that as well now. I think that's always worth sharing with you. So this is a 3.2 V6 subframe. It's different to the 1.8T engine, just so you're aware. But here it is. And it's sitting in cellophane. Now, I've got it in cellophane. And really, what I should have in this cellophane, because it could get moisture in it, I should really have something in it to absorb moisture. But if I just give you a close-up of that, you can see that's like brand new. Well, not brand new, obviously, but you can see the paintwork on it. See how shiny that is? And you can see here where there was some rust, and it's still, you know, it's been powder coated and it's sealed and it's safe now. But there's obviously a bit of corrosion in that original paint. But you can see how shiny that bodywork is, that subframe. But that is solid. Now that's a great item that I've got. So if my subframe goes on my 3.2 behind me, because they are both a little bit crusty, this will be the answer. I've got one ready to go. So I've got a front subframe and a rear subframe to bolt to the car. Other items that you can, you know, that are no longer going to be available, like things like brake pipes and brakes, like calipers, are not available off the market anymore. So I would say if you are particularly a 3.2 owner, I would suggest getting hold of a second set of calipers, stripping them down if you can, and maybe rebuild them and have them on the shelf. So I went the other way. So rather than getting a second set of stripped down calipers and rebuilding the set, I converted to Brembos, because the parts for the Brembos are available off the shelf. You know, they supply them for the Seat Leon Cooper R. It's a straight fit onto the car, and those parts are all serviceable so that you can get hold of those. So I highly recommend doing something like that. So brakes, subframes. In fact, I am going to do a video. I'm going to do a video on parts no longer available, so people can understand what they need to. Let me put that back up so I can sit down. So you can understand what parts you need to invest in and hang up in your garage, so you've got them for the future. I'm going to have a few read through the comments now, because I'm just talking a lot but not really reading. Been down to Badger 5 today. Oh, nice. Bill, you didn't see Bill. They have an ABT TT and an 850 horsepower BAM, as well as an 8. Right, so are they so Chrissy, Jamie, those cars that you've seen today, what colour is the ABT car? Is it Imlay yellow? That's my first question. The 850 car BAM that's there as well, is it red? Is the next question. Let's see if you can answer me these questions. So I'm going to pose those two, and I'll wait for a response. How much is an Audi TT worth now? Jack, it depends. Depends what you're after. So if you're after this car right now, so I tested the water for my car literally just 2 or 3 weeks ago, and someone offered me £10,000 for it. Now, I bought the car 18 months ago and I paid £5,250. So it's doubled in price, but that is because of a couple of factors. One, it's very low miles for what it is. It's on 68,000 miles. Two, it's one of only 41 made in this colour, so it's a very rare colour. It's a 3.2. It's in very good condition. It's got some nice features, and I think maybe because it's been on YouTube, it might be worth a bit more money. I don't know. Just a guess, but it's definitely, you know, because it's people have seen the car, they know the history behind it, they've seen the care I take of it. You know, its life has been documented, so I think that helps the price of it. But you could buy a cheap one right now. I've seen one for sale right now in Hastings, a little black roadster. I was talking about it last night, and the reason I know it's for sale is it's got a lot of parts on that car that came off my breaker that lives in the garden. There's not a lot left of it, so the bumpers and the interior are off my car. That's up for £500. So, you know, if you wanted a cheap run around for the winter, and if you are thinking, why do I want a roadster in the winter? It's cold. Go check out my video that I put out a couple of weeks ago on driving a roadster in the winter, and that will tell you the reason why you should buy one. £500 is a lot of cheap fun you can have this winter for driving around in. Right, Nathan, yeah, definitely repair is more expensive than the car. How would you suggest I open my boot for the convertible? The buttons don't work and the cable snapped. Ooh, right. So when you say the cable snapped, are you talking about the pull hand, the handle for the pull handle in the little secret cubby hole? Are you talking about that cable that's gone? Let me know if that's what you're talking about. I was thinking of smashing the back light. Yeah, if you smash the back light out, you're going to have to replace that. There must be a way to do it. I'll have to have a think about it where it's snapped. What you do find though is on the Mark II, there's no emergency release, and there's a guy that has just gone back into the Mark I world. Richard, if you're watching, not Richard George. So he had to cut a hole in the top of his boot lid to get into his boot because it locked his keys in there. So that's really extreme. Hopefully that you don't have to do that. Do you think they will make a brand new Audi TT soon? Well, I think they already are, Jack. I think they are making something that looks like a TT. There's something called the Concept C that's coming out. It looks like a Bugatti at the front or something out of Batman. I think. I don't think it will go. Whereas the TT Mark One is they always say it's the car that went to it went straight to production from concept where it didn't. If you look at it, there's a few differences still. Very similar, but it's not quite the same. And that Concept C car, that will definitely have to have some rework to get it to production because it still needs a bit of refining, I think. It was a full black. The Abs car sat on the dyno. It was full black. I wonder if that is not a factory Abs car then. I wonder if it's a kit. It might be a kit, that one. And the TT was red. Yes, being worked on at the moment, though, next to a BAM S3. Right. So, Chrissy Jamie, that red car belongs to a guy called Jermaine. And I think his is the most powerful TT Mark 1 in the UK. That's why I knew it was red. Jermaine, a great guy. Jermaine's a really great guy. Loves that car. And I have had the pleasure of driving alongside that on the motorway and just seeing it in all its glory. I've not been in it, but it's a really, really powerful car. That's cheap. Yeah. Yes, the emergency cable right behind the driver's seat. Yeah. No, I think. Hi, Bud. Just a quick one. Is there any way to open the passenger door in a Roadster without the battery? Should it open using the internal pull? Yeah, I think so. I don't think that pull is electric. I think that pull is it's cable operated. Although saying that, I think if the door is locked and you open the handle, it won't open. I think. I might be wrong there. So my advice would be, and this is just something to try, if you've got no battery connected, is I would get, if you've got a battery charger, a trickle charger, set it to supply 12 volts. If I've got one, I'll just show you what I mean. Oh. Right, so this might reach. I don't know if it'll reach the camera. Hopefully it will. Right, so here's my little charger. So this is my little trickle charger. Now there's a setting on here where I can tell it to supply just 12 volts to the car. So if my car was out of battery, so rather than charge it, I just want to just a constant supply. You could connect this up with its connectors. You could probably go off the alternator if you haven't got a battery attached, just to supply power to it. Or even what you could do, you could probably find an earth point for the black lead, and on the red lead, let me just show you, actually, bring you in. So here, right, here we go. So on the top of the this little fuse box here on the top, you've got these three little green fuses, right? This big thick fuse here is for the alternator. The second one in is 110 amps, okay, the second one, and that is the interior electrics, okay? So I think you could probably supply that with off your jump. You could probably supply that with 12 volts onto that, just that one, and earth it off. And by doing that, I think you could probably power the car enough to make that door handle unlock. And you could probably do that by pretty sure you can do it in the car. That's how I would do it anyway. I think that would be the way to do it. Sound futuristic and fast. Daft Punk, just do you know what, guys? You guys are putting some great comments in, and I'm so far behind the comments. I'm so sorry. I've seen him on the Brins channel a few times. Is that the guy's car? Yeah, gosh, I've seen that thing. Yeah, it's an absolute beast, Chrissy, that car. Tony Stevens, hey Andy, I need to replace an RF control arm bush on my 04 TT. The bolt which runs horizontal through the vertical bush hits the engine, not allowing me. Right, okay, right. Tony Stevens, are you driving a 3.2 V6? Please let me know in a comment. I 100% guarantee you are, if that's what's happening. If you're not the driver's side of the key, does the passenger door unlock? Ishav, I think it's 2 pulls on the internal passenger door if the battery is disconnected. Oh, there you go, even better. Think hit the nail on the head with the head mate with the subframes. Yeah, absolutely, Stephen. Definitely get them. Can you please explain how you got yours in your control arm video? Yeah, mate, no problem. Okay, mate, thanks so much, sir. Yes, a 3.2. Right. Okay. So in my video, I'm doing that on a 1.8 turbo. On the 3.2 V6, the subframe has to be dropped to get the bolt out. It's the only way you can do it because there's no clearance on. It's the gearbox side, I think, that causes the problem. So you have to drop the subframe. So you have to drop the whole thing, just loosen it off. If you undo the bolts and make sure it comes down, you'll have enough clearance to get the bolt out, and that's how you get it out. Just done my arms in the summer. You need to drop the sub. Oh, there you go. Phil's just answered the whole question. Thanks, Phil. Yeah, it's a 3.2 problem. The 3.2 has a lot of interesting features, let's call it, compared to the 1.8T. 1.8T is so much easier to work on. So if someone said to me, I'm going to buy a TT and I want to tune it, what should I buy? I'd say go and buy yourself a 225 1.8T. Don't buy a 3.2 because to tune a 3.2, the only way you're going to get more power is you're going to have to supercharge it or stick a turbo on it anyway. And that's going to be costing you north of £5,000 straight off the bat to get more power out of it. The 225 is so tunable. Like you talked about Jermaine's car with 850 brake. That's a 1.8T engine, I think. I might be wrong, but it might have been a lot of work done to it since, obviously. But I think that's where it's all started off from. So you can easily gain, by putting a tune on it, by putting an induction kit on it, by putting a front mount intercooler on it, put a bigger downpipe on it, a bigger tip. You could easily get 300 brake horsepower quite easily off these cars without an awful lot of investment. Awesome, mate. Thank you so much. I couldn't find the answer in Google. Google is your friend, Tony, but I'm your better friend, is probably the answer. Guys, if you find information that I give you helps you on the channel, firstly, please make sure you're subscribed. Secondly, please do give this like a little like if you do. And if I ever give you any information that you think, Andy, you've saved me a load of money and you want to buy me a coffee to say thank you, there's a little button on this chat here for super thanks. And if you click on super thanks, you can buy me a coffee. Any donations are always welcome because that helps me keep the channel going. So yeah, really appreciate that. So if I do help you, please definitely give me a little super thanks. It's all gifts are appreciated. And of course, you can also join my channel as well. So if you're not just subscribe, but you can join the channel and for £1.99 a month, I think it starts at. So, and that again, that helps to keep the channel going. Anything that the channel makes goes straight back into my channel, by the way, folks. I don't take any of it out. It's all invested in cameras, filming, parts, you name it. I put it all back in. But yeah, please do that. A super chat. Yeah, there should be a super chat, a super thanks button on there, Tony, somewhere. It's a little button where you can make a donation. You can make a donation to me. I'm just going to make sure that is should be on there. Super chat should be on there, I think. If not, let me know. But it should be an option to do a super chat. But again, so no one expects to do that. So just by giving it a like and subscribe makes a big difference. It all helps me. You don't have to do anything. But if you do want to do that, it's Carl Forman's just done it. Thank you, Carl. Appreciate that. I'll buy a little Coca-Cola with that, a little Pepsi Max for that. Might just better cover one. But yeah, appreciate that, Carl. You're an absolute diamond, an absolute scholar, mate, for that. Thank you for giving me a little contribution. Appreciate it. It's the $sign with a note. Yeah, thank you, Jack. Thanks for giving that a little point out as well. Appreciate that in the bottom corner. Thank you, mate. But yeah, so the car is staying as well. So we talked earlier about it going up. It was never up for sale, but someone offered me the money, and I did turn it down. I think speaking to the guys last night. Thank you for that, buddy. Thank you for giving me a donation. You're an absolute star. Thank you, Cole. But yeah, we talked last night about should we sell it. I sat at dinner last night with K4 Man 920 in here. He sat next to me and we had a great chat last night about cars and life and whatever. And another guy that sat on our table has also got a very rare car, a guy called Jeff Bedford, a lovely yellow, Imla yellow 3.2. And we've often thought about, should we sell our cars? Because they are so rare colours, I think Jeff's is even more rare than mine because I only know of one other 3.2 V6 in Emily Yellow, and a low mile car as well. But you've also got to think at some point they're going to make so much money. Andy, can you give my TT YouTube a shout out? Yes, I can. A massive world. I'll come back to talking about Jessica in a minute. But yeah, so guys, if you are following me here on TikTok, Stephen Harper VW here in the chat, he is a really good friend of mine. He's also a TT YouTuber based in Ireland, and he has just hit 5,000 subscribers today. So well done, Stephen. I know it's been a hard slog, isn't it? And I don't think people realise how much effort we have to put into getting subscribers. I was talking a bit about that last night with people about how you pick up subscribers. Now some people pick up subscribers, but at least said about them better. But there is it's hard work because people need to watch your content and get enough benefit from it to actually press that button to like. So I really appreciate anyone that watches me and gives me a like but isn't subscribed. Please do subscribe to the channel because it really does make a big difference to us. It gets our message out. But Stephen's puddle light was little, absolutely, off his light, off his wing mirrors. That's it's not wing mirrors, but off his downlight bits. That's a great video. He's got a whole host of TT content videos. I think and also on his Corrado as well. He's got a Volkswagen Corrado. So his VAG group content is very good. Also, some stuff on tractors is worth watching as well. So if you're enjoying my content, I highly recommend you check out Stephen as well. Is that all right, Steve? Hopefully that's giving you a plug as well. There's a load of great YouTubers out there covering the TTs. We've got in the US, we've got Hunter Direction. He covers not just TTs, but he covers all VAG and sort of like German marks. And his content is something else. Yeah, really. Tony Stephen, thank you very much, buddy, for your contribution. That's really helpful. Really appreciate that, buddy. You are an absolute diamond as well. Thank you for giving me a super thanks. Really appreciate that. In the US, I say you've got Hunter Direction. You've also got Travis TT Travis. Travis is just to give it a go guy with his TT. You know, he's was a great night, lots of discussion. Love both yours and Mr. Bedford's cars. Oh yeah, absolutely, Cole. It's spending time with you guys talking cars is always a pleasure. It's never a chore, you know. It's always great to catch up with you guys, and obviously we've got a lot in common as well. But yeah, what a great table of people we had last night. Just the six of us just chatting cars, and there were so many great people dotted around the room last night. Walking around, you could just talk cars all night. You know, you've got Angelo's great cars and Darren's great cars, and Kyle's obviously got a load of cars. You know, Catherine's great car. She's just bought a Mark III, another Mark III TTRS, another great car as well. So, yeah, brilliant. Andy, can you give me a shout out for my channel? Absolutely, Jack. So Jack's got a channel as well. Jack HM Gaming. Jack is the son of one of the guys that works for me, and another good friend of mine. Jack's just braving out into the world of into YouTube, sorry. So if you want to give Jack a little check out, go and check out Jack's channel because I think Jack's doing some great content as well. And Nathan Coombs, I think you really, although you've only got one video, you are a secret YouTuber at heart, I think, and you've just done a video, like I say, a homage to me with your glasses and talking about your blue glasses, and you give us a great drive through the US countryside, all that snow down, lovely countryside. So yeah, on the way to the shop to buy yourself a coffee. Stephen, any good looking Irish redheads? Well, Stephen's got a Portuguese girlfriend, so he hasn't even taken on the Irish girls himself. So, but there are a lot of right. So, I've heard that sometimes how rich unit stops working when you change your license plates for LEDs. Have you heard about it? I've not heard of that one. That's a new one to me. There are some interesting behaviours for the Haldex, but I've not heard that one, Stephen. No, bad video. No, it's good. It's worth a watch. Go and watch it. It's all about the community. Is all about helping each other out. It's about, you know, do you know that YouTube? Little fact for you: YouTube is the second biggest search engine in the world after Google. Bizarrely, Google owns it, but Google is the biggest, and YouTube is the second biggest search engine. So, if people want to know how to do anything, They go to YouTube. So what's better to put on YouTube than how to do something, how to fix things? And that's how I really started with the TT. My TT journey and YouTube journey started by not knowing how to replace the CV boot on the passenger side. Went on YouTube, there wasn't a video, couldn't do it. So instead, I thought I'd film what I did and share it with people on here. And then people started watching it. I thought, that's great. People like watching it. So I made some more videos whenever I need to do something else in the car. And that's how my channel started. I started doing how-to videos. There's some great YouTubers out there covering videos. Bryn from BWSTT. Bryn is an absolute super mechanic. Some great content on his channel. Go and check him out. Probably one of the most famous Audi TT Mark 1 YouTubers out there. And a great guy to boot is Dom from the Parrot Bros. Dom is probably the nicest person you can meet in the TT community for content. Absolutely go and check him out and all his videos. And yeah, and obviously Stephen as well with his Mark 1 content. There's a lot of Mark 1 content out there. Mark 3s, you've got Rappy that's doing Mark 3s as well. So you want to, they're a bit more like real high-end mods, a lot of like bodywork and functional mods and things. He's done a great hi-fi sound system in his car, those sort of things. Definitely worth checking out. And obviously Car Chris for Mark 2. So you've got a lot of people out there covering content and doing videos. So there's a lot of people out there. Definitely check them all out. Gauge doesn't work well. What should I do to fix it? My fuel gauge, right? Kotsios. Okay. So if your gauge doesn't work, it's likely to be the cluster itself. Now I've done a video on how to fix that. And what you do is you need to remove the cluster itself from the car, so the instrument cluster. And then you have to find a repair guy that does it. Now, there's a really good repair guy based in the UK called Sean Blenko from Motive Electronics. Or Motive Electronics. Look him up. He's on Facebook, Sean Blenko. Look him up and drop him a message. And what you do is you send off your cluster to Sean, tell him the problems, and he will overhaul it, work out what's wrong, and send it back to you. If it's a gauge problem, 100% guarantee it's going to be that cluster that's causing you a problem, because they do go bad. The screens normally fail as well. The little LCD screen goes pixelated. So get that looked at, get it out of the car. It's easy to do. I've got a video on my channel on how to remove the LCD or how to remove the cluster and send it off for repair. I didn't use Sean for my one, but I'd say I highly recommend you Sean over the guy I used. The guy I used was, it came back and had fingerprints on the inside of the glass. So I could still see his fingerprints every time I look at the car. So that didn't really over. I should have sent it. Well, I should have complained and sent it back, but I didn't. And it's a long time ago now. My fuel gauge says half when it's actually empty. Yeah. So I think that's. Although Puff Daddy Juice, if you're in South Africa, I think you're going to struggle to get that repaired in the UK. Well, you could do, but you know it is what it is. But yeah, any comments in the chat, guys? Anything you want to know about the car? Please let me know. Should we have a look at the little 1.8T engine? So, well, we'll have a look at both engines, right? Because I don't know if there might be people on here that haven't seen the 3.2 engine. So we'll have a look at that first. Just going to move the charger out of the way. So here we go. So here is, if I do that, that will hopefully give you a little view of the car. And we're going to give it some more light. So these, this is something I highly recommend. So on my TikTok channel, if you go and follow me on TikTok, so these little lights made by Warsun, they're about £6 at the moment, and they're brilliant because if I put them on the brightest setting, can't really see because at the moment I've got it all, but this the light this generates, it floodlights the whole garage. I don't know if I've done it. Do you want to see that? Do you want to see how good they are in the dark? I'll tell you my story behind it, if maybe. Let's do that. I'm going to do that, right? So I'm going to turn the light out. So I'm going to set the scene for you. I am broken down at the side of the road in the pitch black. Right, I'm broken down at the side of the road in the pitch black. Right, so here we go. Lights fading late at night. So if we turn the little ring light off, right, I'm going to turn the garage lights out as well. So now, all you can probably see is just about seeing my face, right? So you're broken down in the middle of nowhere. You can't see what's going on under the engine bay, right? And this little light, if I put that onto the right setting, not that one, that one. Oh, epic fail. It's not going to do it. I think it's out of battery. That's not going to work. So this light is absolutely, I'm going to Epic fail, didn't work. So this light anyway is absolutely super bright. I need to charge it up because I've been using it too much. But I would say if you've need a light, I'd pick one of those up, because then you can shine the torch on this. It's almost like this. It's got this much light. It's amazing. And you can be on the phone to the RAC or whatever, and you've got great floodlighting on it. But we'll go back to this engine rather than worry about that light. So this is your 3.2 V6. It is a VR6 engine, so it shares a common head. It's got 6 cylinders, but shares one block rather than 2 separate heads. And what it has, it's got, you can see all the coil packs are here. And there's a video on the firing order as well. But I'll talk about some of the common problems and what you can do to fix that. And turn the light back on, so we've got some lights in here. Turn that back on. Right, so here we go. One of the common problems with this engine is sitting under here. You have a diaphragm that sits under here that they no longer make. So if your engine, if you lose that diaphragm, you can't replace that. Now, how do you know that diaphragm's failed? Well, it's got a little tiny pinhole on the back of this metal cover here on this. That what it does is when that diaphragm perforates and fails, it lets out a high-pitched whistle coming out the car, right? So when you get that whistle, your diaphragm's gone. But what they don't tell you is Porsche, they have this engine, or the slightly bigger engine, the V6 3.6 engine in their Cayennes as well. And what they did was, rather than having the diaphragm in here, this little pipe and this little 3-pointed star at the back here, they've moved the diaphragm from here to here. So all you need to do is replace this pipe and this part here with the 3.6 part, which is available for about £30, and put a very small self-tapper screw on the back of the hole here. It moves the diaphragm to there, and that solves your problem. And people aren't aware of that. So people are, writing off cars because that diaphragm's failed, and really, because the parts aren't available, you can fix it easily with that. There's an interesting write-up in Road and Driver about what was actually done to the TT to rectify the supposed instability issues. Yeah, I think it's, can you fit a V12 in there? No, Jack, you wouldn't get a V12 in here, buddy. I forgot to ask, how are you finding the Brembos much better than the 3.2? Do you know what, Cole? I'd say the braking is smoother and it doesn't have to fade, but it's not as bitey. It doesn't bite as quick, but it feels a more comfortable braking experience now. So that's my feedback on those Brembos, because they are smaller, so they are going to take a bit longer to, and I suppose I'm still bedding them in at the moment. They've only done a few miles. But that's a fix for that. Now, the other thing that you struggle with the 3.2 engine is you have the timing chains as well on this that can cause a problem. Okay, so timing chains, they cause a problem because the guides wear on them, and the chains will eventually wear so much that the engine, essentially the timing goes out and it starts running really lumpy. Now, the way you measure that is you get something like VCDS or OBD11, you plug it into the car and you read the error blocks on the car, 208 and 209, I think they are, and they give you a rating between plus or minus 8. Okay, so the two ratings, 208 and 209, one is on one bank of the engine and the other's the other bank, and it's sort of reading the degrees that it's out, essentially, from standard when it's fresh. Yeah. Now those numbers have to be within a tolerance of 2. So you could have -2 and -4. That would be fine. -2 and -5. That wouldn't be fine. It's out by too much at that point. And if those chain readings get any bigger, then they start at 0, I guess, when they're brand new, even though when you get chains done, they don't always go back to 0. When those readings go above plus or -8, the engine is seen as it's the phase, I guess you class it as, but it's out of timing by too much, starts running lumpy. So that's something you've got to keep an eye on with these engines. People talk about the worrying chain stretch and it causes problems. Other people say you don't have to worry about it. The average chains last about 100,000 miles. But if the chains do need replacing, that's about a £2,500 job. So you have to factor that into the price of a car. And if you think these cars are about that to buy, that's the price of the car. But there are things you can do to prevent chain stretch. Now, one of the big things, well, I've done a deep dive video on that as well. So if you want to watch out the problems with the 3.2 chain stretch and a deep dive into this engine and how there was a problem, because if you go back to the mid 2000s when they were first using this engine in the car, a lot of the cars, after just a few 20,000-30,000 miles, the engines were failing. And Audi said it's not a problem with the engine, it's how it's being driven. So they were basically putting the blame back into the hands of the consumer. So the consumers all got together and they funded an independent research paper of about 150 pages. It's in German, but I've got a copy of it, and there's a translated version of it as well. And I've done a deep dive video on it. And they established that there were a few things that cause the problems. Now, this chain is made out of chain links, as you'd imagine, like a bicycle chain. And one of the things they found out there was a problem with it is that the manufacturer had stamped their stamp too deep into the links. So it caused the links to be weak. And those links were snapping and causing a problem because the manufacturer's stamp was too deep. So that was one thing that was a problem. They also found that Audi were recommending using long life engine oil so you could go longer between services. Now, by using long life engine oil, you're using more additives into the oil to make it last. By using more additives, you're actually reducing the protection that the oil gives. And by reducing the protection and having more additives, the additives, what they do when the engine is cold, they start absorbing fuel into the oil. So that waters down the oil even further, giving less protection, causing more wear. So that was another thing that they told, don't use long life engine oil. Don't go a long time doing engine oil changes because you're putting the engine under a lot more wear for a longer period because you're not changing the oil. So that was another thing. Driving the car hard before you've got it up to temperature is also a big problem. So people were driving it straight from cold. Of course, when the engine oil is below 90 degrees, it's not optimum operating temperature. It's not giving your engine the protection. It causes wear. That's another major problem. People doing short journeys in this car also causes a problem because they're driving everywhere. The car has not got the time to get up to temperature because they're driving short distances. It causes a problem. There's a very interesting story about someone that lived on the Isle of Guernsey that needed their chains done after 21,000 miles. And the reason for that is because the island is only small. The car never ever got a chance to get up to temperature and caused the chains to fail. So that's an interesting fact for you. So there were a lot of factors into why these chains cause the problems. So the advice would be, don't drive the engine hard until it's up to temperature. And I'll tell you, you can check that in a minute. Secondly, don't drive it hard. Don't use long life engine oil. And what was the last one I was going to mention? It's gone from my head. But basically, regular oil changes. Don't use long life engine oil. Don't drive it hard. And if you're going to drive it hard, wait till it's at temperature. So how can you tell it's at temperature? Because even if your gauge is working right on the dash, when it sits in the middle, it's at 90 degrees. But what that is not telling you is the temperature of the oil. It's telling you the temperature of the coolant. And believe it or not, the temperature of the coolant is different and comes up to temperature much quicker than the oil. Now, because this is a 3.2 engine, it takes significantly longer, much longer to come to temperature than the 1.8 T engine does, okay? So the 3.2 engine was taking 10, 15 minutes to get to temperature. Now, if you go to your secret menu on your air conditioning controls, so you hold the recirculate button in and press the up arrow and cycle using the temperature gauge up. It will step up the code. They're all like 20, 21, 22C, all the way up to 49. That will tell you the temperature of your coolant. But again, the coolant is the same temperature on the dash. But if you knock it on 2 more to 51C, that's telling you your oil temperature. And what's quite interesting to do when you're driving along is get that secret menu up, look at 49C, and you'll notice that temperature will climb up, hopefully in line with your dash. But then knock it on to 51C and look, it's always about 5 or 6 degrees lower than the coolant temperature. until it gets the temperature. So you're always a few minutes behind. So don't trust that gauge getting to 90 degrees on the dash as the okay to boot it, because it's still not a temperature. That's just a bit of information. What engine does your friend have to make it the fastest car in the UK? Jermaine's car, I think it was originally a 1.8 turbo. I think it's had a lot of work done to it since then. It's a seriously fast car. There's also a really, really fast 1.8T daily being used as well. So it's not, because the thing is, when you start getting to that level of performance like Jermaine's car, you wouldn't use it daily because it's so highly tuned. You just can't put the miles on it. But there's a guy that's got one not far from me called Paul Knight. So Paul, if you're watching tonight, hi. He lives down in Hastings, and he's got a car with 465 brake horsepower. He uses it daily. I've never been in a car like it, but it goes right round the roundabout like it's on rails. There's no body lean. It sounds seriously angry as a car. It's really like, it's really like a really fast and furious type car. The gearbox whines. It's just, and it's got a short shifter on it. Paul will take you out and take you for spinning it, and it's an amazing experience. But it doesn't rely on boost. That's the thing. It doesn't. It's not all about that quick boost. Yeah, oil always takes longer than coolant to warm. Yeah, it does, Kenneth. Yeah, that's why I want to cover that and let people know that as well. If I rag it cold, it'll get warmer quickly. Yeah, it'll also cause a lot of engine wear as well, Chrissy. So that's one big thing to avoid for definite. So definitely try not to do that. So that's our 3.2 V6. This is on 68,000 miles, and my two chaining readings are minus or +3, essentially. They're both on 3. So there's no difference in numbers, and it's sort of not quite halfway through its wear. So I know this engine has got a lot of life left in it. If I look after it, it's due an oil change, and I will do that. I think I'll probably do that over the winter. Now, to do an oil change, you've got to do it from underneath, really. You've got to take the under tray off, and that's a bit of a beast of a job on the 3.2 because it's an actual metal under tray, and it's much heavier than the 1.8T under tray, which I've got sitting up there. There's a 1.8T under tray there, and it's so light, plastic one. You can pick it up with one hand, right? There you go. That's how light and flexible the 1.8T under tray is, right? Now, if I was to try and do that, it says, if I was trying to do that with a 3.2 under tray, I would need two hands and I'd be moaning and groaning because it's made out of metal. It's rock solid. It's only throw a rod out the side of the rod. Yeah, I think it's probably time to stop driving it if a rod comes out the side. What's the top speed in miles an hour? I don't know if it's more about how quick it gets there. I think more rather than the actual the final speed. There are a couple of cars that have been tracked at about 195, I think, or 185. There's a car that lives in the Audi Tradition Museum, which I've done a video on. There's also another video on my channel, a little yellow one, and it's got an RS4 engine in it. It's got B5 twin turbo. It's a 2.8 V6, so it's a smaller engine than this, but it's a bi-turbo on it. So it's a turbo. It's a V6 with a turbo, and it's not a true TT though, because it's got an RS4 chassis that it sits on. The bodywork's been modified to look like a TT, but I think that hit 185 at the Nürburgring, so that's pretty fast. I mean, what's the top speed of Jermaine's car? I don't know actually. I'm not sure. I could find out. It's more about the power it generates, the 850 brake horsepower that it gets it down the road. You know, it's a beast of a car. So I'm not sure what his top speed is, but I'll try and find out for you, Jack, and I'll let you know. The Bimoto TT went 240, was it, Kenneth? I'd rather poke a bear in the eye. Yeah. I don't think I would. That's the thing. I've done track days in the UK. I've done it like a driving experience. Okay. And I've been around the Nürburgring as a passenger. I've not driven it. And funny enough, we were talking about this last night when we were out to dinner. Actually, I was talking to Kyle about this because Kyle has driven the Nürburgring. He was there the same weekend I was there. We had a great weekend, and it's a big risk, right? Taking your car around the ring. Now, I'm not gonna poo-poo it. Mr. GMT1, how you doing, my man? All the way in Australia. How you doing, pal? Great to see you on tonight. I knew you'd turn up at some point, and that must be a very early start for you. But I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing well, buddy. And great to have you on the channel. Thank you very much for your super thanks. You're always a fantastic support of the channel, and I really appreciate that. Thank you very much, sir. And if anyone else wants to support the channel that's watching right now, wants to send me a super thanks in the chat, please do. Click the little dollar sign down the bottom. It really helps. Buy me a coffee. It all helps. I know I sit here telling you stories most Monday nights now. Hello, buddy. How you doing? Hi, Water Prospect. How you doing? I know I've told a story for about 20 minutes about the chain stretch and the problem that we had there. So if you enjoy my stories and stories about the TT and just gossip and chat, let me know. But I'll go back to the Nürburgring story. So I think they're organised. The guys are organising a trip in May this year. The TT guys, and if you're going to go, it's a good thing to go and do as a group of people. We had a great time when we went. But some of the risks behind it, so that would put me off going back there now. So I've done the ring. I've done a passenger lap. Would I take my pride and joy around the ring? No, because, and I'll tell you the reasons why. Firstly, I don't want to put my car through its paces to the point that I'm making it, putting it at risk, let's say, because you could have a nasty accident out there. It is a racetrack, essentially. It's not only you out there, it's other people going around the track. So if you are going to go, I'd say go in someone else's car or go in one of the ring taxis. Take your car out there and have a great time. But do you want to race your car around there? Because what they don't tell you about is you're not insured. So if you're a UK driver going to the Nürburgring, under your standard driving insurance, you're not covered. So if you have an accident, it's on you. And that needs to be highlighted because not everyone knows that. Not only that, if you have an accident at the Nürburgring, read the small print. First, you've got to pay for a lap. And when I went 2 years ago, I think the laps were €35 a go, right? So you're paying €35 to go around that track to start with, right? Not only that, if you have an accident, I think for every metre of crash barrier you damage, it's €500. If they have to close the track to trailer you off the track, it's €1,500. If you damage any of the other stuff around the track, if they have to bring ambulance and stuff, it's all more money, right? And when the weekend we were there was another TT there that wasn't with us. It was there on its own, an Irish TT, and we saw it absolutely having it around the track a few times. It was really giving it some. And then on the Saturday morning, it went out and it lasted 2 corners and it put itself in the Armco. And the guy wrote his car off. So he lost his car to start with. And then not only did he lose his car, he had to pay about €20,000 in fines for fees for the track being closed, damage to the Armco, and everything else that goes with it. So it becomes a very, very expensive hobby. And they're the things that you not aware of. And of course, you're not insured. So you've got to find, you've lost your car and you've got to find £20,000. That's an expensive holiday to lose your car. But yeah, look up Tail of the Dragon in Tennessee. It's not a track. Okay, I'll check that out, Nathan. See what that's like. Have you ever replaced any speakers in your Roadster? I'm just about to change the speakers and head unit and amp in. Yeah, I've not changed speakers in it, but most of the cars come with the Bose sound system, and for the early 2000s, the Bose was a great system. Today, no, I don't think it is. I think it's well past its best. I think there's better systems out there, aftermarket systems. The technology's moved on. I would highly recommend taking it to a hi-fi specialist if you've got one. The speakers are pretty much common size. The speaker location, so you've got the speakers in the door, and in the Roadster, I think the sub is in the bottom behind the 2 seats at the bottom. And on the dash, as you look at the dash, you've got those 2 like humpback slotted lines that go forwards. So underneath those, there's tweeters for the treble of the car as well. So you've got speakers there as well. So definitely factor all those components in if you're looking to do that. I did ask my wife for a cup of tea at 8:30. It never turned up, but it's what it is. Don't suppose you've got a spare wiring harness for the aftermarket Bose system. When you're talking the wiring harness, what bit do you need? Because don't forget the breaker's still in the garden. So if there's any like wiring for the stereo, it's all still there. So yeah, if there's a Bose wiring harness you need, it's in that car. I can have a look at it and see if we can get it out. But let me know what you need, and I can sort that. That's not a problem. So that breaker car. So those of you in the UK, I mean, I'm not treading the breakers' toes because the breakers are amazing in the country. We've got some really good breakers. I've mentioned them before. But I'm breaking parts off that car just to get rid of it. But I'm also putting them on the shelf. So I've got spares. So I've got a spare fuel pump, got a spare starter motor. I've got a spare alternator, although I'm not putting it on this car, but I do have it on the shelf because I think at one point those parts won't be available, so it's good to have it. I have to go, Andy, but when you're next YouTube stream, what day? Jack, next week I'll be on, same time, same place, 7:30 next week, buddy. So thank you for joining me. Have fun at school and study hard, study lots. And obviously next week you'll be off school, so maybe you can stay up later as well. So have a word with your dad. Tell him his boss said so. It's like a wiring harness for an aftermarket stereo. It needs a CAN bus, I think, if you've got the right one. Okay. If it's the standard part in the car that came with the car, yes, I've got it. It's probably the best way. Thank you, see you next week. No worries, Jack. Look after yourself, buddy. You're Chrissy Jamie, yeah. If that's the standard part, I've got it. It'll be in the car because I've not taken it out. We stripped a lot of stuff out of that car. There's a few sensors actually under the dash as well that plug in that we've also got. But even things like the hazard warning switch fails on these cars. And sometimes it's not the switch that's failed, but sitting behind the dash, there's like a bar that goes up behind the switches that holds them all forward, and that drops down onto the stereo, and then the switch is pushed through. So people have to go and buy a new switch, but it might not be the switch. It might just be that bar's dropped down. So always check that before you buy one. And that's a good tip for people on that. We've also got things like spare steering pump as well, spare AC compressor. All those sort of things I've taken off because we haven't talked about it yet, but we'll move the camera and we'll have a look at the 1.8T engine I've got here and talk about what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. So let's do that now. Let's move you into a new position. Take you with me. So sitting right here, I'm going to turn the light on as well, so you've got a bit of better view. So right here is a 1.8T engine without the rocker cover. Okay, so this is what you find in your 225, your 118, your 150, and your Quattro Sport. Different engine code for the Quattro Sport, I know, but this is what I'm saying. So we'll put the rocker cover on. Okay, he says. There you go. So that's what you'd see. So there's your rocker cover. I'll bring you in a bit so you've got a better view of this one. Got a quart of oil on the floor, but right. So there you go. So there is your there's your 1.8T engine, right? So the rocker cover, we've removed that first. Now to get this off, right, I think there's 9 little nuts, little 10mm nuts holding this in place. Obviously, you'd have to take all the coil packs off. You have to take all the wiring, like the N249, all that sort of stuff off to get it clear, right? Then you've got this off, right? And then you're into the engine itself. Okay. So you've got this off, right? You'd normally have also some gaskets. There's a gasket that runs right around the outside. And if you can see this here, can you see this little bit here? That is what they class the half moon gasket that sits in there. That's a common place for the oil to leak. So that half moon gasket fails, you start losing oil through there. If you can see oil running down the back of the engine or the front of the engine, quite high up, it's normally coming out of this gasket. Now, this is a quite easy fix that you could do at home. You just have to unbolt that rocker cover, lift the rocker cover off, and it's a bit fiddly. You've got to get it off. But what you also need to do to get the rocker cover off, you've got this metal plate here that goes between the exhaust manifold and the head. You need to loosen the 2 bolts on this just to push that back enough, or bend it out of the way to lift the rocker cover off, and that will come off. Okay, but once you're into that, you're into the engine. Now let me just show you. I'll give you a quick look at the gaskets I'm talking about. There are 2 of these. So the outer gasket, which is the one that would cause the oil to leak, is this one. So there's that half moon. You can see now this is pretty rigid, this gasket, and it is a bit fiddly to get over all the holes, but we'll just put it over. Now, what you've probably noticed when I've taken the head off, taken the rocker cover off, there's no cams in here because I've taken the cams off already. Got to go. I'm still at work. Take care, everyone. See you, buddy. Hope you're well. So that's where the so I'm going to put this gasket on. Now, getting it on, you have to put it on and line it up the whole way around. You can't just put it on one side and drop it because it is a bit of a pain, right? So that's the one gasket. Now, so the cams would be under that as well, but you also have this inner gasket, and this sits over where the coil packs go in. So you've got that one. So that's in the oil to stop the oil going into the coil packs. So you'd also replace that. So there's a pair of gaskets there, a pair of Harry Potter glasses, like that. Take that one off, and also this one. But I say these are quite common, these gaskets, to leak alongside that that half moon gasket. So we'll get that out of the way. So imagine we've taken that off, right? So we've got the gaskets out of the way. We'll just hang it up for a second. Hang me Harry Potter's up. So then we've got it off, and then we'd have two sitting over here. We'd have the two camshafts going over the engine, right? And the cam chain would be going down in here as well, and all the features. Yeah. So well, that's just kind of again. Think hit the man on the head of the subframe. Yes, buddy, absolutely. That the subframe is definitely something that you need to swap out and do yourself. So obviously the cams are off on this one, so they'd come off. Now to do that, there's a cam position sensor that sits on this end of the engine under a cover as well, so that would need to come off. Then you lift the cams out, and then you're at this stage, right? So had a call and missed 15 or so minutes of the video. Okay, buddy, no worries. Welcome back. So with the rocker cover off, this is what your engine and the camshafts out of the way. This is what your engine will look like. So you know that the engine is cool. Evening, mate. Apologies for arriving late. Been talking about you, Richard. Been talking about you cutting a hole in the in your boot to when you had no access to the boot. We were talking about you earlier, and I know you've got a lovely red Quattro Sport now. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. I hope you're bringing that to Belgium. So this is your engine with the rocker cover off and the cams out of the way. Now it's called a 20V engine, right? So it's not a 16 valve; it's a 20 valve engine, and that's because there are 3 inlet valves and 2 exhaust valves, right? And you've got these little hydraulic buckets that sit on the top of over the valves. Okay, now I can just lift these out. So there's a hydraulic bucket. So you can see that it's got that little tappet bit on the top there that sits over the top of the valves going up and down. Now, when you remove these, you can put them back in. But what I would suggest you do, if you do remove these, is know which hole you took them out of, because otherwise they might not fit back in the same hole quite as well, right? And also, when you're getting them out, the outer ones, either side of the, because they're in a set of 3, the 2 outer ones come out quite easy, but the central one is a real pain to get out. You can't get your fingers in to lift it out, right? So I would suggest trying to get some sort of lifting tool on it, or to get some grip on either side to lift it out, like a pair of tweezers or something, because they slide out quite easy because they're oily, but they do give you a bit of resistance. Now the buckets on the hydraulic buckets on the exhaust side are much bigger, because although there's 2 of them compared to the 3, they are bigger. So that's when I get my little suction tool and I suck down to a bucket, and look at that, lifts it straight off. And that's how I remove my buckets from my engine. There you go, you see that there, right? And then that's on top of the valves. So my next job, so if you can imagine, if I'd removed all of those buckets off, I had removed the camshafts off, then the engine looks pretty much like this. If I bring you in now, have a look at that. So the engine is pretty much, you can see the plugs down in there as well. If you can see those, see the plugs are still in place. You can just about see the plugs down in there as well. Now, the next job, to have a look at the damage that's caused to this engine. So for those of you that don't know, this was a non-runner when we bought the car. We paid £300 for the car, so I could break it for parts or put it back on the road as a track car. The reason that it had was a non-runner, and I can show you that if I can just see the right belt. Where would the right belt be? Because there's so many belts knocking around, it needs to find the right one. The cam belt had failed on this car, right? So the cam belt had failed. Now, when I'm talking about a failing cam belt, what happens is the cam belt sits on the end of the engine. It keeps the two camshafts in time with the engine. It goes around the crankshaft at the bottom, keeps everything running in perfect synchronization because this is an interference engine. And what happened? The cam belt decided to strip some teeth because the guy that owned it before me decided to not keep up the maintenance of the engine. Cam belts need to be done every 5 years or every 60,000 miles, whichever comes first, because they're made out of rubber and they will fail. And when you do the cam belt, you should do the water pump, the hydraulic damper, and the roller bearing as well on the tensioner. Okay, that obviously hadn't been done because it's a £500 job, and he thought he could get away with it. Well, he paid the price because the belt lost teeth, and I keep looking around to show you the belt, but this belt had lost about 25 teeth in one go, stripped them all off. So of course it's got no grip on the crankshaft pulley. So the valves and the pistons decided to meet, and of course problem, non-runner. But to get to that, we've got to remove the head to have a look at the damage, because I want to show you guys the damage that can be caused to an engine by not keeping up the maintenance, to give people a reason to do those cam belts, because you are playing a bit of Russian roulette if you are taking a risk and not doing that belt at the right maintenance interval. Okay, the belts are, the kit's £300 maybe. Do it yourself. You can do it all right. But this particular engine, obviously, it has lost. It has had a coming together. So I think, right, I need to take the head off. How do I take the head off? Because I've got it to this stage, yeah. So we've got the head ready to come off. But what they don't tell you is the 10 bolts that hold the head in place are actually an M10 ribe bit. I'd never heard of that until a couple of weeks ago. And thanks to Matt Hillard, he told me what I needed to remove the bolts. And essentially, they're like a triple square. They're sunk right down into the head. So I need a long axis bit. So I need to buy an M10 ribe bit that can get right down in there and break the seal on those head retaining bolts. Now I've heard they can break as well, which is not great. It's not such a problem on this because it's a breaker engine, but if you were doing this on your engine itself, it was for £5. What was that, Steve? Is that for the tool? Any suggestions to create better exhaust sound on 1.8T? I'll tell you, if you want to change a better exhaust note on the 1.8T, or if you want more of a grunty sound, if you want that nice turbo sound, you could obviously you could probably fit a dump valve, I guess, for the turbo. Having an induction kit gives it a much more throaty sound. But for the exhaust side, you could go for a bigger downpipe and maybe a D-cat or a sports cat with a nice scorpion system, something like that. That would give you a nicer exhaust note. It's never going to sound like a 3.2. So if you're trying to make a 225 sound like a 3.2, it won't. So the best way to get a decent exhaust note out of an Audi TT Mark 1 is to buy a 3.2 V6. That's my advice to anyone. I'm lucky that I have that. Hi, Abdu David. I hope you're good, buddy. Welcome along. But yeah, so that's what we need to do here, is we need to get these head bolts off, to get the head off and look at the damage. So I'm going to do a deep dive into that video to show people why you should keep up the maintenance on your engine. I keep getting P0012, a camshaft listen time open retarded tank. Does that, Steve, if you get that, does that mean that the timing chain needs doing on the have you done the cam belt on yours? Because Bryn showed me a really good made a really good tip. So when I did my cam belt, Bryn was here and supervising me and talking me through it. He's making a video about like a dummy's guide to doing it. And when you fit the belt, you've got to then retard the crankshaft pulley back by one tooth, because it does start to come forward when you do it. So definitely something to do. How I'm good, mate. Where am I? I am based in Kent, buddy. Is where I am right now. So my channel is based in Kent. Hi, Daniel. Good to see you, mate. I know we spoke on Saturday when I was doing my TikTok live, and I was walking along, talking to you, wasn't I, about doing live? So yeah, welcome along to the live tonight. Daniel heads up the 3 counties group. So yeah, welcome along, Daniel. 1.8T cam done 3 years ago. This just started recently, and I have replaced the cam position sensor. Yeah, I had a good walk, mate. Thank you. Yeah, really appreciate that. Thanks. Yeah, for those guys that are watching, that are enjoying the content, please do give the video a like as well, because that really makes a big difference to the channel. And if you enjoy what you're watching, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And also, if you want to support me further, then there's an option down in the corner to give me a super thanks as well. So you can send me money for a coffee as well, which is always most appreciated. So if you want to do that, great. I had to move mine back to much more than 1 tooth, by the way. Okay, just moved it back as much as you need within reason, but make sure when your belt is taut, make sure the timing is all correct. Yeah, you need to make sure you count the teeth around as well on that, because the last thing you'll do, being 1 tooth out, could be enough to cause a lot of damage. So yeah, you don't want it running ropey and causing problems. But yeah, you can do it yourself, and I have done it myself. And then the good thing is the Roadster's now good for another 5 years. Would I do it again? And would I feel confident doing it repeatedly? Thank you, Mr. Craddock. Is that you? Thank you for giving me a coffee, buddy. Love that. Thank you for sending me a super thanks. You're an absolute gentleman scholar. Thank you, buddy. I really appreciate that. I will enjoy my coffee. Must catch up, Stephen. It's been a while, isn't it? We need to get together and have a look at your car as well. We need to get, and don't forget, next year we will be holding Springfest once again in the garden. So if you would like to come to my Audi TT meet in the garden next year, we had 35 cars. Stephen's been to it. He's always a good attendee for that. But if you want to come along and be part of, and Richard George, you've been along as well. Carl, you've been along as well. So there's a few people that have been along. But if you want to, it's due to the camshaft and crankshaft not being in time. So you need to check the engine time. Is spot on, mate. Yeah, that's what I think, Richard. We're talking about. Do you think maybe that could have slipped the tooth? Could that slip the tooth? Yeah, Quattrophenia. Well, yeah, Springfest is a great one, isn't it, Stephen? Yeah, thanks, buddy. It's a really good event. So what we're going to do next year as well, because obviously my wife runs a catering business called the Springbank Kitchen. Obviously, we are at Springbank. She runs the Springbank Kitchen. She supplies all the cakes and the biscuits and the food when we do Springfest. We're going to be starting a new thing in 2026. We're doing something called Dine with Your Cars. So we're going to be having themed nights in the garden where we're going to have a big table down the middle for up to 40 guests to come along. And you're going to have a bit of drive in, park your car behind the table with fellow enthusiasts from different marques. So we're going to have Ferrari night, we're going to have a Porsche night, we're going to have a BMW night, we're going to have a TT night, we're going to have all the different nights. And we're going to offer you a 3-course meal and dine with your car and fellow enthusiasts in the garden and enjoy the company. So that's our thing for the next summer we're going to do. We haven't advertised it yet, but it will be coming next summer. So we'll be doing that a couple of times a year. What date is Springfest? Going to try and get mine done for the new year. Chrissy, I haven't announced that yet. We normally have it in June, but I think it's a really popular event and we get booked out. So I think we'll probably do a couple of Springfests next year. We might do an early summer one and a late summer one because not everyone can make it as well. And we do get oversubscribed for it. Everyone loves coming along to that. So we will be doing that. But yeah, the Dine with Your Cars will be coming next year for various marques. No, so whatever it be, we'll have a mini night maybe, a mini metro night, whatever it'll be. We're going to have a night for your car that will be covered in the garden. So yeah, 3-course meal. So my wife is an amazing chef. She's a fully, she's got a 5-star food hygiene rating. It's all done official. So it's a proper catering business that we're running here from home. So we'd like, if you would like to be part of that next year, please drop me a message at the channel and we'll get you booked in. And of course, we'll also do private dining events as well. So if you want to come along with a couple of people rather than having a whole garden full, we can cater for private dining also. But of course, the big thing for me really is to get this engine stripped down. So I've got some content for you guys. Get the alternator sorted on the 3.2 V6, sitting there looking sorry for itself. Move those out of the way. I'll move you out of the way now. Move you around there. But yeah, so got to get this done on this car, which I'm going to do over Christmas. So there might be I might even do a live at Christmas, maybe not Christmas Day because I'll be a bit busy, but I'll maybe do some lives over Christmas. Obviously, next Monday we'll be doing a live. These lives are going out every Monday now where I can answer questions here, talk to you guys, see what you're up to, share with you what's going on in the garage. a little quick fix for someone out there. That someone asked me about this. They were having a lot of hesitation with the car, like it was having fuel starvation, and they said fuel pump problem. That's not where I'd start. Where I would start is sitting under your car is this little gadget. And I think, Stephen, you've done a video on this. So if you've got fuel problems, check out Stephen Harper VW on TikTok, YouTube, about how to replace your fuel filter on the car. So check out Stephen's video on that. So that is a really, really quick little fix, cheap little fix you can do. Check out Stephen's video on it. I will be doing a video on it myself as well, but I say it's a real quick little fix for you. Anyone that wants to sort out fuel problems. If you're having those fuel problems, that's the first thing I'd check before worrying about fuel pump, because it could be a blocked filter. Easy fix. Makes a big difference to the car. I think Stephen will agree with that. Ace Cafe. You looking to do Brookwood, Brooklands, Goodwood, Rikers Cafe, Ockenbites, Cafe Machine Meats. Funny enough, last night I had dinner at with TT enthusiasts at the Duke's Head pub where we start Quattrophenia. We had a lot of guys come along last night and girls, and I had a discussion with David Smith, and he's got a couple of TTs, and he mentioned Rikers Cafe and a couple of other places down there, and said we need to get the TTs there. They're a good event. Super important to change the fuel filter. It's a pain in the arse job, but good to start there. Absolutely. Go and check. So, guys, if you're not a subscriber to Stephen Harper VW that's in the chat right now, go and give him a follow. He's a TT enthusiast. He does great TT content. He's just hit 5,000 subscribers. So well done, Stephen, for hitting 5,000. Get yourself over to his channel. Maybe not now, because obviously you're watching me. But when you finish watching me, go and check Stephen out. Check out his videos, because he's got some great content on the TT. And it's all about helping each other out as YouTubers, because we're here for you guys. We're here to support you guys and give you the ways to fix things on the cheap, or to fix things without going to the garage. But yeah, it's we all help each other out and grow the community. Make sure these cars keep going. And so I'll talk about the fuel filter. Another pleasant little surprise I've got right here. Check this out, right? So I've never owned one of these before. Impact driver, right? So an impact driver, expensive, but on my TikTok shop right now, these are £15 through my TikTok shop, right? And I was a bit like dubious, probably the best way to describe it, because you put them on, they aren't get them on the bolt, and if I just undo that now, come straight off. Look at that. So the exhaust manifold, the bolts on the exhaust manifold look pretty rusty, and I thought, you know what, if there's going to be some bolts they're going to be a pain to get off, there we're going to be it. So I grabbed one of these Ron Tarley drill impact drivers, say 15 quid. What they don't tell you though is that when it turns up, it comes, this is the chassis, the body itself, right? But you can tell by the colour of it and the colour scheme what brand it's compatible with, if you know what I'm saying. And it also, you can buy these batteries on there as well, right? So these are 18 volt batteries, and they're 8 amp hours. Now the ones that you get from the DeWalt tools are 1.5 milliamps from the shop. And if you want to buy anything bigger than that, they get hundreds of pounds, those batteries. You can buy 2 of those batteries, 8 amp hour batteries, for £15 on my link. And the chassis itself is £15. So if you've got the batteries already, you can buy an impact driver. Now I've never had one, and you'll probably notice in all my videos, I've got a breaker bar and I'm like struggling getting out, or I haven't got any sort of, or I'm there with a ratchet for ages and ages and ages. Oh my goodness, those things, even on easy bolts, they can just spin them on and off. Absolutely brilliant. They come with a range of tools as well. So for 15 quid, I mean, I was really surprised. I thought they wouldn't have the power. And when I've done a video on TikTok about it, oh yeah, it's got a little gauge on it, a little light up gauge as well. So if I put that on like that, if I just put the little, you can see it's got like a little, those little lights as well. So it shows you how much power it's got. And yeah, so I thought, well, for £15, I'd give it a go. And I was really pleasantly surprised. If you want one, go and check out my TikTok shop and grab one. If you don't get one. But if you want to go and get a impact driver, totally revolutionises your life working on cars. So I'd highly recommend getting one. get one of those if you want. Help me out, because obviously buying one, I get about 60p if you buy one. But even if you don't, then great, good present for someone. I've got these on TikTok Shop as well, my little microphones, because they are brilliant as well for doing content. So I can walk around the garage and you can hear me nice and clearly. So they're brilliant as well. But again, this is YouTube and not TikTok. But there's things I thought I'd tell you about that I'm doing as well to help people out. I'm always good to share good products, but I'll also tell you if the products are not very good. But yeah, so the TT, the reason I haven't done the work on the TT is I'm having a new garage door fitted on Wednesday. So I'm going to have to get the car out of the garage tomorrow night. And because I've got to get the car out of the garage tomorrow night, I don't want to sort of like have the bumper off and stuff. So yeah, I'm doing that. Dare I say I'm looking to get an XR, also yellow, like a certain other brand from Temu for 25 with box, charge, 2 batteries and sockets. So I may check yours instead. Yeah, Daniel, honestly, for 15 quid, I'd get one. Now, there's a drop down in my shop, Daniel. Go and check it out, right? Because if you go and check it out now, I mean, they're 15 quid tonight. I know that. So if you've got 15 quid, you want to buy one. If it doesn't work next time, if it's no good, next time you see me, you can tell me, because I 100% guarantee that they are brilliant. Because I thought it's not going to have the guts to get those bolts off, and they just fly off. I mean, they're really good. So highly recommend those Ron Tardy drills. But obviously buy it from my TikTok page. Yeah, there's a video all about that drill and the batteries on my TikTok page. So go and check it out. Yeah, 15 quid. Yeah, absolutely, mate. And yeah, but say if you bought it and it was no good, next time you see me, I'll give you your money back. But I can guarantee if it's as good as my one, it's spot on, mate, honestly. And it's just an absolute lifesaver. Really is. But yeah, I've got to get the garage a bit tidy. So that's what I'm going to do after I finish tonight. I'm going to tidy this garage up, get the tools out of the way. So I'm going to have engineers. I'm going to have what they call like fitters in here doing doors and stuff. And I don't want all my tools lying around because they're, not they'll nick them, but they'll just be a mess, So yeah, it all helps, Daniel, doesn't it? Absolutely does that. Just getting a bargain and saving yourself a few quid. Don't buy it from Temu, buy it from TikTok Shop. Which we love TikTok Shop. But obviously you can find me on TikTok, obviously, guys. If you watch the channel, then I do some videos on there. And also, if you don't already follow it, I've started a little extra channel on YouTube, a little sister channel called Andycharger Electric, and that's all about electric cars, and that's talking about range anxiety that people have, tips for charging, tips for making your battery last longer, also the living with an electric car, because being petrol heads, people have got this real phobia about electric cars, thinking they're bad and they're not, not reliable, or they're expensive, they're not good for the environment, or they don't make a sound, all these bad things. But do you know what? As much as I love my TT, it'd be a hard contest if I had to keep one out of my Tesla and out of my TT, because I love my Tesla, I really do. It's a big debate, people are really anti-electric cars, and I was not a fan until I drove one, and the acceleration of it, you can't describe it. The actual sheer torque of them is unbelievable. Live with an electric vehicle for the last 6 years. Don't see the hate behind them. Fantastic cars. Yeah, absolutely. They're very divisive, Chrissy. They are. People either love them or hate them. I love my TT and I love my Tesla. I've got no hate for any of them, And someone made it. Carl, if you're on here, you made a really good point last night. You said if you flip it round the other way, if someone's came along and said, you know what, I've invented this new car, right? It's called a petrol engine, and what you do is you have to drive to a garage and fill it full of the stuff that comes out the ground. And can you charge it at home? Oh no, you have to drive somewhere. You can't charge it at home. So it's like backward mentality looking at it. So you can see that electric cars, you can charge it at home. You can go to a supercharger. There's if you try to bring out a petrol car now, it wouldn't work. Whereas if you bring out an electric car, they have. So it's all quite good. Hard to say though. Electric compared to petrol, go-karts is legit more fun, but gotta love petrol. There's room for both, I think, in the market. And, the way the world's going, we are going towards alternative fuels. Do I think electric cars are the future fuel? No, I think things like hydrogen cars will be the future, because if you think about burning hydrogen and oxygen, your byproduct is water. So you know that will be, I think that will be the future, something like that. Yeah, methane cars, I suppose that could be another thing, but that's, you know, that's not great for the atmosphere. But hydrogen cars, yeah, I absolutely think it would be. Yeah, as long as it puts a smile on your face when you hit the big go button. Well, exactly that, mate. That's exactly what it's all about. Isn't it? It's about driving these cars, enjoying ourselves, and not sitting in this garage for getting too cold, which is what I'm doing right now. I've got a hot water bottle here that I made to come out here because it was really cold tonight. So I'm going to put my hand in it. It's just a little bit warm now, but it's not as like it was earlier. But yeah, so I will do a live next week, guys, as well. So for those of you that have enjoyed tonight, thanks for joining on. We've still got 16 or 15 people on. So if you're still on the chat, can you give me a thumbs up so I know you're still on the chat? Because it might just be people that have fallen asleep. I hope I haven't bored people to sleep tonight covering my topics. You know, I like telling stories about cars, talking about my cars, talking to you with questions that you may have on TTs. You know, I'm here to answer all your questions as much as you can. Yeah, thanks for giving it a like, guys. Good to see you all still there. Daniel, Steve, Carl, Richard. Oh, Richard's got a big red hand, a bit like my blue gloves. Like Nathan Coombs is on there as well. Loads of thumbs up from Nathan. Steve still there. Cool. Yeah, you're all still there, guys. Good to see that. Give the actual little, press the button to like it as well if you're still watching. So if you haven't pressed it already, I'm sure you all have. Got 43 likes on there at the moment. So there's definitely a couple of other people who've got to press that button. Andy Pythian, good to see you, buddy. I'm not seeing you in the comments yet tonight, so it's good to see you on there. And yeah, so is there anything else, guys, that you want to ask me tonight about the car and about the channel? Anything you want me to cover on the channel as well? Because that's Mr. John Tudor. Great live chat. Thanks, John. Appreciate that. I think you're based up in North Wales, aren't you, John? Back in the homeland, my homeland. So yeah, I think we've talked before when we're on here. So yeah, good to have you on tonight, buddy, as well. Good, up to 45 likes now. That's better, isn't it? We've obviously got a couple of people who clicked the button. So thank you for that, guys. I did speak very briefly last week. I don't know if you remember about the little survey, little poll I put on in the chat. Did I put that little poll up last week? Good to be on, mate. Off to see Bryn tomorrow for a very overdue time belt. Give him my love. Give him my love, because he's done well, not too much love. No, he did. To be fair to Bryn, you know, he drove all the way down to me to do that video on fitting the timing belt. So essentially, I've had a timing belt done. Thank you, buddy, for just giving me a super thanks has just come in. Thank you, buddy, Mr. GMT. You're always very kind. Thank you for giving me a support. All you guys that send me super thanks, it's really much appreciated. It really helps support the channel. So if you want to if you are enjoying what you're watching, you're still on, guys, and you want to contribute to supporting me and buy me a coffee, click the button and buy me a super thanks. It's always much appreciated. I know many of you have already contributed tonight to support me, so I really love all that. But yeah, thank Bryn for Richard. Thanks to Bryn for coming down. I've passed my thanks on to him many times. He taught me a lot when he came down here, and it was good to sort of catch up. And you know, if you need anything technical, Bryn's probably your guy to go to. I'm just sort of like a guy that fiddles around in the garage and tries to do stuff. But yeah, first trip I'm going to do in my TC is the A4069 Fantastic Road. I don't even know what that is. Mad Music, I've got a 3.2 V6. Mark, your videos help me a lot. That's great, Mad Music. I really appreciate that. I'm glad you're enjoying my content. I'm glad my videos help. If there's any specific videos to your 3.2 that you want me to cover that you can't find on the channel, then please do drop me an email. Tell me stuff you want me to cover, because I'm happy to cover it with my beautiful 3.2 to give you an insight into how to do things. Really appreciate all the help and support everyone gives me. If you want to support the channel, then you can subscribe. If you're not already a subscriber, then hit that subscribe button. You can also help me. Just, you know, it's free to do. You can press the like button on this video, or go and watch one of my other videos and give that a like as well. You know, just by watching it really helps us all out. Andy's always very helpful and supportive. Thank you, Daniel. Really appreciate that, buddy. I try to help as much as I can. If you want to support the channel anymore, guys, You can also become a member of my channel. I think it's £1.99 a month to join. For that, you get you get direct access to me. You also get your name in my videos as a thank you as well. And there's also members only content where I give an update to people talking about what's going on, and I'm always happy to answer questions. So you get members only content as well, and early releases. Located in the Beacons was like Top Gear, Best Road. Oh right, yeah, that's a bit like the Mac loops up that way, isn't it, for all the fast stuff. And the others in the group has always felt very welcome. Yeah, we try and make everyone feel welcome. That's all. That's what it's all about, isn't it? It's bringing the community together and helping each other out as much as possible. That's, for me, that makes a difference. Just going on last night to going back to the TT meet last night, so many great friends that we've made through the TT community. And that's the bit that if I turn the clock back, 5 years ago when I first started getting into getting into YouTube and TTs, and I started going to meets. My very, very first meet was in 2022. And I went to Dom's meet in Hemel Hempstead. It was on an industrial estate on a Saturday morning, and there was about sort of maybe 15 cars there, mainly owners, not partners, just the owners were there. And it was, and that was then. And really, the scene has grown. It's changed because, I talk about the international TT show that we're going to next April. If you want to go to one show next year and see a part of the world and see a beautiful part of Belgium, please come to the international TT show. We had 250 cars there to show you how much it's grown. Most people bring their partners. The UK contingent that go over, they tend to bring their partners, and we make it a great weekend. We have some fantastic meals out. We stay in some really lovely hotels. And we've just made it a massive group. Chrissy Jamie, thanks for becoming a member. That really appreciate that. Welcome to the club. Thank you, Chrissy, for supporting me and becoming a member of the channel. Love that. Thank you very much, sir. But if you want to come and become part of that and see that how much we've changed the scene and how much partners are welcome. Like last night, it was most people were there, had their wives or their husbands with them. And it's become a really good group of friends out of it. And I think that's the best thing. If I take one thing away from the TT community now that's made a difference, it's making so many great friends, lifelong friends as well. So I know that people will come and go. People are not always going to be TT fans for life. They might sell their car and buy something else. But I know the people that I've made friends with through TTs, even when they don't own TTs, they still stay in our group of friends, and that's wonderful. I really appreciate that. And there's not many hobbies that you get into later in life where you still make new friendships. Because as you get older, it's people a bit more cantankerous, whatever. But yeah, we've made some really great friends, both me and my wife, out of it. We've got some really good friends out of it. So yeah, thanks for being part of that. And hopefully, my TT content continues to bring the community together. Who knows? Hopefully it does. Hopefully you enjoy it. But I will be wrapping up in a minute because I've got 20 people on the moment. So guys, if you are enjoying what you're watching, make sure you give it a thumbs up, because I want to make sure everyone out there is I know you're out there and watching and still awake by giving it a thumbs up. We're at 45 thumbs up at the moment. We've got 21 people watching. I'm sure some of you 21 have not given it a thumbs up yet, but if you haven't, yeah, Stephen Credit, yeah, TT scene is very chilled. That's what I love about it. Oh, 46, someone's giving it a thumbs up. Thank you, whoever's done that. It is a really great scene, isn't it? I think someone else give it a thumbs up. So there's another one. Anybody else? Andy, as Andy and others probably know, I don't use my TT more, but I still hear Showing Sport. Massively appreciate that, Daniel. I know that you got rid of your car, but you're still a petrol head at heart, and you're still here supporting us. Still here joining in with people. So we always love having you along and being part of the group. So yeah, always continue to be here and share the journey. But yeah, so if you're enjoying tonight, enjoy my storytelling, and there's anything you want to know about the TT, if there's any particular videos you want me to cover, then please let me know, because I'm always looking for something new to cover. I do also cover, bizarrely, Ford Fiesta Mark 7 of all things, and if you look at my top 10 videos every month, 1 to 5 will be Fiesta videos, and I've probably got 10 Fiesta videos and 500 Audi TT videos. but my most popular content is Fiestas. But the passion and the interest is all for the Audi TT Mark 1. So hence why the lives always are about the Audi. My content is always about the Audi, and the how-to guides tend to be based on the Fiesta. So we do things like changing the oil, changing the lower wishbones, those sort of changing the wing mirror is my most popular video, believe it or not, on the Fiesta. Mad. But I think I'm going to cover how to remove a wing mirror on the Audi TT Mark 1 because, how would you do that? Does anyone know how you'd remove the wing mirror? Because obviously it's halfway up the door, isn't it? And it's not obvious how you get to it. Removing wings is probably another thing. So we've all got probably rusty bits on the car. And how would you remove a wing? So there's a few different fixings inside the wheel arch liner and also down the door and across the top of the bonnet line as well. So there's definitely different ways of doing it. So you need to know all the little extra features you can remove to get the wing off. Bumpers, I've done a few videos on how to remove the front and the back bumper. They're always very useful to know because there's a lot of features and a lot of the things you need to do on this car. On the front, you need to have the bumper off. Like, do you know that if you need to change the headlights on your car, you need to remove the bumper? You can't just take them off. It's, it's mad, isn't it? Alex and his mate still around, blue, 55 and green. So Alex had a baby. Alex and Leonie had a baby. I think they're little, how old was the baby now? Must be about 2. And Alex's friend is Neil. Neil's got the green car. I've seen Neil a couple of times since. He's got that lovely Goodwood green car. They've got almost like matching cars, haven't they? They've got the same wheels and same layout. But large horseshoe clip on the wing mirror. Yeah, absolutely, Nemesis. That is exactly right. But people don't often know how to do it, so I'm gonna cover that off for people. Because interesting, what I have got is I've got a pair of black wing mirrors on the black car. So I'm sure there'll be someone out there that wants a pair of black wing mirrors to make it look like a Quattro Sport. So that's a nice little change for people. So I might take those off, see if people want to buy them off me because I don't want to keep them. So if someone wants to make an offer, you can have a pair of black wing mirrors. All those things would be very useful. Yeah, I think I'll do that. Yeah, believe you did a video on headlight aliens. Yes, I have done a video on headlight aliens. Now that was one of my early videos because they tend to leak and they tend to the hoses tend to perish that supply the aliens. So your reservoir that supplies washer fluid to the aliens also supplies it to the washer fluid for the wipers. So if that pipe fails, you're losing all that fluid. So what people tend to do is they think, well, I'm going to just put a cap on the end of the pipe, stop it leaking, because if the aliens are leaking, all your fluid comes out. So rather than replacing the aliens, they just cap them off and stop it coming out. Are the aliens worth having in the car? I don't think so, because when you pull them, they squirt a little bit of water at the light if you're lucky. And even if they do squirt water at the light and they get it on target, how much cleaning are they doing? So people tend to do away with them. And I get that. But I wanted to make mine work again. So I did a video on how to service your aliens and bring the little rubbers back to life with some isopropyl alcohol and some wintergreen to soften that rubber up and get it working again. So check out that video if you want to bring your aliens back to life. I'm trying to think what else I've covered. Headlight restoration's a nice, easy one as well. So if you get some, as long as you've got a sander and you've got some grit sandpaper from like 200 right up to 3,000 grit, stepping it up with also put some polishing compound in it, you can make your headlights look amazing again. Do it yourself. It costs you nothing. A few sheets of sandpaper is all you need. A few sheets of sandpaper and a bit of time. All you need, and some polishing compound. And then once you've done it, best to lacquer them to seal them up again because you don't want them going dull. If you don't seal them, they will go dull. They will go dull again very quickly. Headlight polishing, all fun and games till the inside is worn. Don't go through too much. You can do it. Wet and dry paper, plenty of water, plenty of light polishing compound. You can bring them back. I've actually got, if anyone needs any headlights, I've probably got about 6 headlights here as well. So if anyone needs one, I've also got a mixture of the pre-facelift and the facelift models as well. So for those that don't know, there was a facelift that came out in 2002, I believe. or late 2002, early 2003, and certain elements of the car were facelifted. One of those features is the headlights. So the pre-facelift headlights have got a black insert. Now the headlight inserts post-facelift have got a silver insert, which you can see. So the pre-facelift are black and the post-facelift are silver. There were some other items that were in the. You've got a pair of silver lining headlights. Yes, I probably have. Best upgrade for the headlight bulbs is they don't trust LEDs. Absolutely don't trust LEDs because, again, Stephen, there's a video on my channel about that where Auxito got in touch with me. Now, Auxito jump pack, all day long, I'd have one of those. Well, I've got one knocking around the garage here somewhere. I don't know where it is. But anyway, the Auxito jump pack is brilliant. But Auxito also supplied me a set of headlight bulbs, LED headlight bulbs, and said, these are a great upgrade for your car. Would you do a video on these? And I said, yeah, if they're any good, I'll tell people they're good. But if they're bad, I'll say they're bad. So I was sent the bulbs, and they come with all the ballast on the back of it, and they're a big old thing. And they didn't work. Yes, so you turn the lights on, and for a split second, the light comes on, beautifully bright light, then it goes off. And it appears that those headlight bulbs, they don't work with the ballasts in our lights. The ballast isn't powerful enough to power them the way it works. So they just turn automatic safety features, they turn off. So I spoke to Auxito and I said, your bulbs don't work. You know, what are you going to do about it? And Nemesis NG, the Le Mans Pack Fiesta, are you talking about the S-Line? The S-Line upgrade that cost people money and then they had their money back. So I'm going to talk about that in a minute, actually. So I will cover that. But yeah, so those bulbs didn't work. I went on YouTube, and there's a YouTuber in the US, can't remember his name, but he covered those bulbs for his Audi TT Mark 1. And he said they worked. And so I got in touch with him and I said, well, hang on a minute, these do not work. So how have you got them working? And I think we established in the end it was because he had a very old style light that doesn't have the ballast as part of the lens. It's bolted to the bodywork. He said that's any difference we could see, because he says they work, and I 100% guarantee they don't work. I tried them in 4 cars to make sure it wasn't just me and it was the car. It wasn't just me and it was the bulbs, and it was. None of them didn't work in the cars. So called him out a little bit over it. Not calling him out like saying he was lying, but calling him out saying it's not working. And between us, we sort of worked out the only difference could be that it was a different style headlight. Yeah, the Le Mans was US, meant S-Line. Okay, yeah, so Nemesis, I'm going to cover that off because you just mentioned it. The black inserts suck. Yeah, they're very dull, aren't they, Nathan? They are not great. So the Le Mans pack, or the S-Line pack, was released in 2002, very early 2002, and it was an upgrade over the standard car. And it had lowered the suspension by, I think, 40 mil. I think it's 20 or 40 mil. So the S-Line pack, it was 40 mil down. It came with I think it came with the aluminium gear knob as well. It came with the silver insert headlights, a couple of S-Line badges on the side. I'm not sure if it was the 9-spoke wheels or not, if they were already out at that point as standard. But that was a pack of features that were seen as like the epitome of the Audi TT features. And of course, Audi being Audi, they charged a premium for that. So they were charging a few £1,000s extra for the S-Line version. No, it wasn't Hunter. Wasn't Hunter, mate. Hunter's a good, yeah, the 9-spokes, yeah. Because they were 17-inch wheels before that. And the 9-spokes took it to 18-inch wheels. So this extra money that you were paying on the S-Line, people were rushing up there. It came in 2 colours as well. It came in Avis. And what was the other colour? I think it might have been Glacier Blue. I think they were the 2 colours the S-Line came in. And of course, Audi sort of put this nice premium on it. And about 6 months later, Audi went, you know what? We'll make all those features standard across the range. So Audi then put all those S-Line features into the standard range as part of the standard build. So all these poor people had spent a fortune on these extra, limited edition features that then became standard. So the UK guys that had spent this money, they got together and they said, we want our money back, because You've charged us a fortune for these extra features, and now you've made it standard across the range. And to be fair to Audi, Misano Red was there. Okay, Audi put their hands up, and they went okay, and they refunded people. So people that asked their money back got their money back, which I think, to be fair to Audi, was a pretty good. And I know another story as well, which I'll share with you, where there's for those in the UK that go to car shows, sometimes you see a beautiful Kingfisher Blue 3.2 V6, and the number plate is 32TT. So if you've seen that car, let me know in the chat if you know the car I'm talking about. It's owned by a really nice guy, a really lovely guy. I can't remember his name. I'll call him Stephen, or David, is it? But anyway, he this car is on about 16,000 miles, right? And when you open the door to his car, it smells like it's just rolled out the factory. It's immaculate. Oh, Chris, is it Chris? Okay. How beautiful is that car? I've met him once at at the show in Vorsprung show, to see that car. And I've detailed on the channel. I've sat in that. It's got beautiful light leather seats, isn't it? Like almost like very pale light grey seats. I've never seen a TT like it. It's just like it just rolled out the showroom. It's so clean. So Chris's car, the story that Chris told me was he went to Audi and said what he wanted. I want a Kingfisher Blue 3.2, but I want a manual one. They said, "Oh no, we're only making it in DSG, I'm afraid." He goes, "Well, I want a manual one." "No, we're not making manual ones." "Right, okay. Well, I don't want an automatic. I'll have one of those 225s instead." So Chris got a Kingfisher Blue 225 manual 225. Roll the clock forward a few months, and Audi decided to make a manual 3.2. So Chris went back to Audi and went, "Hang on a minute, you told me you weren't going to make a manual one." And they said, "Oh yeah, we did, didn't we? Yeah, okay." So they agreed to buy the 225 back off him and give him what he asked for, which is a manual 3.2, and which he's a single owner, 16,000 miles, by no stretch of the imagination, the cleanest Audi TT Mark 1 I've seen, the most immaculate Audi TT Mark 1 I've seen, and an absolute, it's almost like a time capsule that you could go back in time and see that car. It's amazing. Yeah, it's a stunning car. He bought it to, yeah, I did. Yeah, I think there's do you know what, Andy? There's a show in the year that's got like a hall in it. Is it Sanford Hall or one of those sort of shows? And there's a picture of it outside the hall at a car show. It might be that event he went to. I think it's Sanford Hall. I've got a picture of that. Chris came to the first ever meet I ever organised in 2005 in his 2003 Kingfisher and said he was about to sell it and would come back with another block. Oh, right, okay. Just joined. Did I miss the alternator fix? No, because it hasn't happened yet. The alternator fix has not happened. It's still without an alternator. It is going to have an alternator, but it's not. So I'm having a garage door done on Wednesday afternoon. So because of that, I've left the alternator to take the bonnet, the bumper off and stuff until the guys have been and done the garage, because then I can leave it on intact, can drop the car out the garage, they can work on it, not damage my car, do what they need to do in here, and I can tidy the garage up. So that's my plan. So yeah, that's so it won't be this week. So when you join next week, it might have the bumper off. It'd be good to do the video next week, maybe do the live with the bumper off, and I can talk to you guys and tell you what I'm doing and the progress we're making and what's going on with it. So maybe we'll do that next week. Yeah, I had my Kingfisher Mark 1 for just over 13 years. Wow, you don't see many Kingfishers about, do you? It's it's a lovely colour car. It really is. It's so that one of Chris's is you know, something else. It really is. Thank you, Phil. Thank you for being on tonight, buddy. And thank you, also a channel member. So I can see you in the green text there. So if all channel members are on the chat tonight, they've got their name in green, which is the highlight that they are members. So if you want to become a member of the channel and join up. It starts at $1.99 a month, so you can more than welcome to do so. You can join from my link. I think Chrissy, Jamie, and Phil P, they're both members. So thanks very much. Okay, mate. Thanks for the updates. The DIY detail, I am going to do it. So do keep yourself tuned for that alternator fix. So maybe we'll do it live next week. Hey Andy, just done the coil pack harness messed up. Let's replace it now. The car won't start. Okay, so have you broken a coil pack plug? Maybe you've done that. Maybe Arena love your channel. Thank you very much, buddy. I really appreciate that. So I always love to hear comments. People enjoying the content. That's great. And if you are enjoying the content tonight, then you can always join the channel. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, but you can also give it a like. Give this feed a like. So if you're new on now and you haven't given this feed a like tonight yet, give it a like. But if you want to support me more, you can of course join the channel for $1.99 a month and support me. You get your name. You appear green in the chat here. You also get members only content. You get your name in my videos. You get direct access to me as well. So there's lots of things you get for that. And also you can give me a super thanks if you're enjoying the content here tonight and you enjoy and want to buy me a coffee in this freezing cold garage. Click the little super thanks button down the bottom, the little $, and you can buy me a super thanks and buy me a coffee. Always appreciate people that buy me a coffee. It's really cold out here. I can see we're up to 50 likes now if I go like that, because my hat makes the background go so I can see the number. So thank you very much for giving it a like. What was I about to talk about? Oh yeah, the coil pack. So there's a video on my channel about coil pack connectors. So I'll show you some little tools I've got. He says, go in here. These are another great little kit of tools. So I can open these up. Can you see all those in there? So they're all like little electrical connector tools. So they'll come like a chain. So you've got these little connections for sticking into various coil packs, and you need those. So if you ever need to change the coil pack connector, you use that box of tricks to poke into all the individual pins, and they go. So you've got like a pin. It's like a little socket, and those connectors go around it, close the feet together, and you can slide the pin out the connector. So you can remove all 4 of the little wire pins out of a plug, get a new plastic plug, slide them all in, and then you're fixed. Because the little connector clip that holds the connector together often break because they're getting brittle. So that's a good way to fix it. I should have done your way, really. Is there really a need to replace the whole wiring harness? Not the harness, but just the plastic clip. That's definitely what you need to do. So if you break it, that's the way to do it. I've got those bits, man. I watched all your videos twice at this point. Oh, good. So you know about those things, yeah. But I think it's always good to point those things out to people on the that we're talking about, because when I talk about how I fixed it, I always want people to know that that's genuinely what I do. I've got the tools here, and I always keep them for those jobs, and also point people out. So that's a great tool to have. Great set of tools. Those little clips to get those electrical connectors off. You get the other tool that you push it down and pull it out. I see another tool actually today for replacing, for removing, disconnecting the electrical connectors. That almost like slots underneath the connector and pushes the tab flat, and you just slide the whole thing off. That looked pretty cool tool. I didn't see too much about it, but yeah, although that again, back to my £15 tool. Definitely go and get one of them off TikTok shop, off my TikTok shop. Check me out on there, Andycharger. If you haven't got an impact driver, go and get one, because they are absolute lifesavers. And I didn't realise until I had one how good they are. What was my first car? My very first car was an Escort Mark III in Sunburst Red. It was a 1.3. It wasn't even a 1.3L. It was just a 1.3, 1300. It had a 4-speed gearbox as well. And that was it. Now, Stephen Craddock, he's got a Mark I Escort. That's an absolute beautiful car as well. Have a good rest of your evening. Catch up soon. Yeah, Stephen's talking about your amazing Escort you've got. That's an amazing car. Definitely let's have a look at that at some point. But yeah, my first car was a Mark III Escort. If I could have that car back, so I would. Jack Popperwell, thank you for becoming a channel member, buddy. Massive appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thanks for the love on the channel. When guys and girls join as members, it really makes me realise how much good I'm doing for the community, and people love joining it. Obviously grew up in Essex. Yeah, Carl, I did. And do you know what? I didn't stop there with my Escorts, because I also had a a Series 2 RS Turbo, and a Spec 91 or a G plate, a black one, in about 1999. It was 9 years old when I got it. It had been thrashed to death. And I was driving down the A12 one day from work on the way home, and the bonnet was loose, and the bonnet opened up on me on the A12 doing about 70, yeah. And couldn't see where I was going. So, of course, put the brakes on, because luckily it was a straight bit of road. And I'd only had the car about 3 days to get back to the garage. I traded in my RS 1800i Fiesta K-Ridge one. It was newer, but the steering rack had gone, and I didn't have the money to fix it. So I traded it in a garage for an older RS Turbo. God knows why I did it. I mean, one of the biggest regrets I've had for cars, that is getting rid of my my RS 1800i Fiesta, a white one. So it looked like an XR2i, but it didn't have the stripes around the outside, and it was all. And the XR2i had black door pillars, but the RS 1800 didn't have black door pillars. It was all white, and the bumpers didn't have the horrible blue stripe. And I'd always point out that mine's not an XR2i, mine's an RS 1800i, and it had a lovely set of 5-spoke wheels as well. So that was a great car. But my favourite hot hatch I've owned was I had a Peugeot 205 1.6. I pulled chicks in my 1.6, as they say. Beautiful little Peugeot, high mileage. It was £3,000. It was well past its sell by date, in graphite grey. Beautiful. I love that car. One of my favourite cars. Maybe not as beautiful as the 3.2 V6, but it's still a beautiful car. Yeah, it's super rare. Do you know what? So there's 9 of those left. There's 9. Well, and that was a couple of years ago. There's 9 Fiesta RS 1800i Fiestas left, and I reckon most of those are in Essex. So if I still had that car, that'd be worth a fortune. But again, I think we look back at all those cars. If we'd kept all the cars we'd owned, we'd never sort of trade them in. So yeah, super rare car. And if you ever get to see one, definitely check it out. The Fiat, I think they're more rare than the Fiesta RS Turbo. So they did back in the day, they did the Fiesta RS Turbo on about a G or an H plate, and I think it was an H plate, or was it a J plate? Anyway, it might be a J plate, but it had a green stripe round it, and they came in red, they came in grey, they came in black, and they came in white, and they were the only 4 colours they did. And then, of course, my K-Ridge was the RS8. They did away with the turbo and did the RS 1800i instead, and that was mine. So I love that. Oh, trust me, if I'd kept some of my cars back in the day, yeah, exactly. It's always the way, innit? My first was a Morris Minor van, D-Ridge 66. Blimey, that's a proper old car. But I bet you loved it as much as you loved any car you have. All great cars. We love all these cars, don't we? So, blimey. So I've done. So the first week I did an hour. Last week I did 2 hours, and tonight I've done 2.5 hours talking to you guys. That's a fair bit of content for someone to rewatch tomorrow, and they'll probably go to sleep. But yeah. But I say I'm probably going to drop off in a minute, even though there's still 23 people watching, and I don't like to. When people are watching, I don't like to turn it off, because I think, well, you're obviously still enjoying watching what I'm talking about, even though I'm talking a lot of nonsense. Is there anything you want me to talk about in particular, or are you just happy to talk nonsense, guys? Because I've not really covered much about the Audi in the last sort of half an hour. I've just been talking general stuff to you guys. But if there's anything you want me to cover, let me know in the chat. Why is Dom not posting? So Dom is still around in social media, but Dom is doing aftershaves now over on TikTok. He's really well known for his aftershaves. So he's doing all fragrances. Now that sounds very different for what he's doing, but he's very successful at it. He's probably one of the biggest fragrance content creators on TikTok. He's the Fragrance Viking. So please check Dom out, give him support and some love, because in the TT world, Dom was really the first person from the TT YouTube community that really spoke to, and he is an absolute lovely guy. I've got all the time in the world for Dom. He's probably the biggest miss I've got of all the sort of, like, going back a couple of years. It was all of us in the TT Mark 1 YouTuber community doing lots of stuff, and you know, not having Dom around is a big loss because he did some great content. We are just trying to watch you freeze. I'm getting there. Dom is the Don. Absolutely, Danny is. So that's what he's doing. My favourite hot hatch was a Mark II Astra GTE 16 valve. Yeah, I had a mate who had he had an Astra GSI, actually, a red one, I remember, back in the day. But the Astra GTE was a wicked car on it. That was a lovely car. But yeah, I need, so on this I'll ask a quick question, actually. So Dom did a video on doing a subframe restoration, right? So can anyone remember on this subframe? So the bushes that I'd take out. So there's that bush. I'll do that. There's that bush there, right? And there's that bush there, and then you've also got these bushes. Now these ones just pop out, right? But I think you've got to press these ones out, and there's ones in the top. Why this has been half restored, let's call it, with hammerite, not by me, but why they've painted over the bushes, I don't know. But to press those bushes out, I think I'm going to have to press them out, aren't I? There seems to be 2 at the back, 2 at the side, and then I think there's 8 bushes. Is that right? Is there 8 bushes in a rear subframe? Can you please let me know? Didn't you have a handmade tool for those bushes? Yeah, I've got one. Yeah. So I could press them out, but you know, I know Dom took it somewhere and got someone to press them out. So do I want to go through the hassle of pressing them out? Or would that be a good video where you watch me struggle to press out 8 bushes? Who knows? Maybe I'll do that instead. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. I'll do a video on it. But yeah, so 82 likes. So guys, if you're enjoying what you're watching and you haven't given it a little like yet, then please do click the like button. Makes a big difference to me if I know that people are watching it and liking what I'm doing. Yeah, content is content. Absolutely is. The microphones have held out tonight. So these microphones have been going for 2.5 hours strong. Again, these are on my TikTok shop. So definitely check out my TikTok shop if you want some microphones. But Daniel, definitely go and get one of those £15 ratchet guns before midnight. I think the price was at midnight. So if you want one for £15, get over on my channel and put one up over on TikTok. And obviously the support you give me, then it helps me on there as well. But yeah, but these microphones are also on there, and I think these are about £13. But for doing content creation, so Stephen, I know you love a bit of content creation. So rather than relying on your GoPro to film it and having different mics, these do great quality sound, and they are, yeah, £13. They plug in the bottom of your phone, so you can film it on your phone, and off you go. Absolutely perfect spot on. But I'm going to drop off, I think, guys, because it's 157 minutes in. 15 of you watching still, so I want to thank you all for being on tonight. I'm down to 12% battery on my phone. I need to go and charge my phone up, and I'm absolutely freezing. I'm going to, hopefully, Carl's going to send me a USB charging heated Gilo for next week, Carl. And yeah, but again, thanks all for, yeah, great idea for the mic. Stephen, are you on TikTok, Stephen? I don't know if you're on there or not, but if you are, go over to my video that's got them, and you'll get them cheaper as well. So I'll send you the link afterwards. Good to see, yeah, good to see you, Daniel. Thanks, Carl. Thanks for all your support. Great to catch up last night, buddy. Really enjoyed speaking to you over dinner last night. It's always good to catch up with you and talk about your car and life in general. And you know, we've got a lot in common, the two of us, haven't we? So thanks all for jumping on. Really appreciate your love and support. Don't forget to give the channel a like, give this feed a like, and also yes, get your girlfriend on there, buy that, yeah. And also give it a give me a legend. Thanks, buddy. Thanks, Jack. Appreciate you all your help and love. So give me a little super thanks if you want to drop me a little super thanks in here to help fund the channel and bring new things coming. Then please do you know, please keep up the stuff going and keep supporting me. Buy me a coffee. Keep giving me a like. Want some postcard, whatever else I can say really. But yeah, really appreciate all the stuff that you guys do. Glad you enjoy what you watch. Glad you like enjoying the Mark 1 And it's always great to know that you still love your Mark 1s as much as I do. And we keep the channel love going, because I think the Mark 1 needs a lot of support, needs a lot of love. Parts are getting more rare. They're not going to be around forever unless we look after them. So we are the guardians, not guardians of the galaxy, we're the guardians of the Mark 1. So make sure you look after your Mark 1. Make sure you look after each other. Christmas is coming up next week, so make sure you have a great Christmas. If you're not on next Monday, I'll be here next Monday night before Christmas, so maybe we'll have a little maybe have a little Santa's giveaway next week. That might be a good thing. Maybe I'll have to think of some prizes. Maybe I can do a Christmas giveaway live on here next week. That sounding good to you guys? Maybe some of the stuff I get sent, maybe I'll give it away as a giveaway next Monday night. That sounds a great idea. And it's just us as YouTubers of the Mark 1 of everyone else. Yeah, Stephen, let's keep that going, brother. We are the last guardian standing, yeah? So me and you will keep the love going for the Mark 1, yeah? Okay, guys, thanks all for watching. And yeah, I'll speak to you all next Monday. Hopefully there'll be some video content coming this week as well. So take care, much love. See you next Monday. See you guys.